closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action, cash game poker. It's Wednesday night, which means it's whale night, Dave. I'm Bart Hanson. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. 2040 no-limit hold'em, $2,000 minimum buy-in, unrestricted buy-in.
Unrestricted, right? No max.
And this is kind of the game I think we're going to really put down on Wednesdays because, you know, everyone will play it, whereas a lot of people are somewhat hesitant to change up colors to the 2550 with different chips.
Right.
But this is the same game that we spread on Friday with the same chips.
Another issue, obviously, is sometimes the 2550 game or the 5100 game would actually die right after the show would die.
Right.
But this game goes on through the night.
Right.
And a lot of people actually show up at 10, 11 o'clock and play it until 4 in the morning.
Right. So it's a nice little compromise.
It really is.
Here. Well, we got a couple of new people on the table. Let's head over there and let's get to it.
Yeah.
And seat number one here. Oh.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I'd love to see this hand because seat number one actually has flopped a straight flush.
Yeah.
He's got king 9 of diamonds. The board is 10 jack queen of diamonds. Now, seat number 5, Jason Cacciatani has top pair with an ace kick.
Ace queen, yeah.
Yeah, now he has ace queen of clubs, though. So, I mean, he's really got not much here.
So a flop straight flush, this guy has bet out, at least on the turn, and Jay's called him. And this pot is almost $2,000. Jay's drawing stone cold dead, and the river now is an ace. Yeah. And that might save Jay, because there's really nothing he can beat now.
Yeah, Jay has made 2 pair here. And, you know, that card is not scared Mark at all, and he's betting right into Jay. And at this point, you almost hope that Jay's got ace-king. He's just going to keep paying you off the whole way.
He bets 1,000 here on the river. Sometimes we are about to introduce the players, and the interesting hand comes into play.
Anytime you see a straight flush there, and he's going to throw it away here.
Flop straight flush there for Mark. Yeah. Wow. And
is he going to show the straight flush? No.
Well, I think he picked it up and showed it.
I saw it. I'm drawing dead.
Yeah. There you go. All right, let's get to it.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, okay. Talk about an understatement there. I'm drawing dead. What do you think? Seat number 1, we got Mark, the straight flush man, we'll call him. Seat number 2, we've got Aaron, another new player on the show. It's always fun to see new faces on Live at the Bike. Seat number 3, we've got Paul, our seasoned turkey. Really a quality player here. Probably a plus, probably a -2 on my scale. Seat number 4, we've got Raid. And Raid's been on the show before. Normally plays in the 500 game, we don't usually see him playing this big. It'll be interesting to see how he does when he steps it up here. Seat number 5, we've got Jay Cacciatani. KK, we call him, and he's a real action player, very much in the same mold as the Corporation Mike. Seat number 6, we've got Hav, call him Midnight, also a very, very good player, knows how to change his gears and everything. Very tight, very solid. Seat number 7, we've got Avo. Avo, also a pretty good player in his own right, and he's bought in for a lot of money. Got over $10,000 at the table. Seat number 8 is Mo. And in some of the smaller games, you call him Action Mo, but in this game, he's really just Mo. And seat number 9, we've got Kirk, and he is anything but action in this game.
Yep.
Really probably the tightest player on the table.
There was quite a hand by Kirk and Avo in the game I was playing at just a couple minutes before the show in the 5-10 game. That hand is going to make our video blog one of the hands tomorrow when we film it. And through the course of the night, I want to get to other things here in terms of how you can submit a hand for the video blog, because you still have time. And there's going to be procedure I want everyone to take so that it makes it easier for us if you want a hand read. I've already read through 15 hands. Right now, there's one guy leading. We might do 2 other hands that someone submits, but right now, I've seen the best hand. I'll get to that in a second. Limped around here. 4-way action. Queen, Jack, Deuce with a couple of clubs.
Yeah, it's completely missed everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's got clubs, nobody's got a queen, nobody's got a jack, and nobody's got a deuce. In fact, Raid is the best hand here with 8 high.
Jay is going to bet 160 here. senses some weakness, he's going to take it down. So this is 20-40 no limit. The brownish red chips are $10 chips. The whites are hundreds. If you see big gray ones, they're thousands. And if you see a big purple, pinkish one, it's a 5,000. Avo normally covers the table, and it looks like he is over there right
Seat
next to
7,
Avo
yeah.
in seat 7.
Yeah, look at that.
So, Dave, right now, like I said, I've gotten about 15 emails for the video blog, and the guy that is leading, I'm going to do the Kirk Avo hand, and then we're probably going to do 2 more. Paul Hempseed from England emailed me a hand, and we're probably going to do that, but you still have time, 3 hours to email us a hand, and everyone that wants a hand considered for the video blog, I want them to title in the subject, hand for blog.
Right.
And if you don't title that, it might not get read.
Yeah. And when obviously when you're letting us know about your
Yeah.
hand, we need all the pertinent information, obviously, because we're going to dissect the hand. We need to know what the game you're playing,
Yeah.
how you're playing,
So
what the stacks are. I mean, everything you can remember about that hand and the specifics, position,
Yeah.
everything is important, obviously.
Now, Paul has raised it out of here with the small blind. He's made it 220 to go. Hav, an early position limper with 7-9 of clubs. That's tough to play out of position, but now he has position on Paul.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't look like Paul's all that deep, but that's a hand, if we were both deep, I might call.
Well, you
heads
could
up in
see
position.
Hav. I mean, Hav was almost sitting there counting Paul's
Right.
chips, trying to figure out, do I have the, does Paul have enough money for me to make this call? He put him on a big hand, obviously. Figured out that he does not have enough.
So again, I've got this one from Paul Hempseed here. And anyone that gets an email into me by 10 o'clock Pacific time, I'm going to read it overnight and try to pick up 1 or 2 more. And then we're going to do it tomorrow. Button's going to move over here to seat 3.
Button moves over to C3, right? Is that
And
what you
even
said?
though I said this guy's leading, if I see another couple hands
Right,
that
right.
are better, I'm just saying that Paul Hempseed, who emailed us on Saturday, as of now, I'm going to use his hand as one of the hands on the blog.
I mean,
Couple interesting hands.
at some point, we will definitely get to Paul's hand,
Yeah.
whether it be this video blog or the next one. We're definitely going to get to him. I don't want poor Paul to be all upset if we now don't use his blog. But hey,
But again, there was a really interesting hand between Avo and Kirk before the show in the 5-10 game. And if you want to email us, you can email us at live@thebike.com, questions, comments, suggestions. And if you want a hand for analysis, title in the subject, hand blog. You can also follow a thread on 2plus2. 2plus2.com spelled out. Click on forums, World Poker Tour, etc. Official Live the Bike thread for May 31st, 2040 No Limit Open.
it's nice to see some new faces in this game. Paul's going to raise this up out of the. He's in a cutoff spot. He's got ace queen off suit.
Do that one more time.
He's going to make it 140 to go here. Obviously,
Raising it
garbage.
3.5 times the big blind.
The other one was worse.
Yeah, you mean, people might think, well, that's a big raise. Remember, we are playing 24 here.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's actually not that big at all.
Now, the funny thing here is that normally when you play a big game like this,
10 off ball, you're free to punch me in the face.
especially, well, here at the bike, I'm not sure necessarily at other casinos, people aren't as deep in the relation to the blinds, whereas at the 5-10 game, the standard raise might be 65 or 70, which is 10 to 12 times the blind. Here, it's not going to be 400 or 500 because people just aren't that deep.
Now, most of the players at the table, now it's a minimum buy-in of 2,000. I want to say the average stack at the table is probably closer to, say, 4,000.
Well, he's going to come in here under the gun to 150. He's got ace jack suited, ace jack of hearts. And Paul over there in C3, he's got pocket sevens. And he's not even going to get involved with it. Well, he's not that deep. Figures, you play the player, and he might not get paid off. But Jay is going to come in with pocket fours on the button. And if rags come out, you wonder how Jay is going to play it.
Well, there's rags.
10 deuce deuce here.
You wouldn't put Mo on the 10 is.
Mo
That,
checks.
that flop definitely did not help Mo's hand. Now,
Look at
Mo
this.
might have a pocket pair higher than it, obviously.
Mo checks, Jay bets 200, Mo quickly calls. The turn is a 5. Mo checks again. And Jay's now, again, he might be trying to wonder if Mo's got
Would you-
9s or 8s.
I was going to say, I was like, you almost put Mo on like 7s, 8s, or 9s the way he's playing this game. This
And
hand.
Jay's bet 300 here. That might be a little pot controller. He might check it down if no paint comes on the river. The river's an 8. Mo checks, and I assume, unless Jay thinks he might need to bet Mo off the best hands, he's going to check it down here.
I don't think Jay could get Mo off of pocket 8s here. Obviously,
Right,
not pocket
right.
8s. I don't think Jay can get Mo off of pocket 9s or pocket 7s, though. Do you?
The pot right now is about $1,500. And Jay's going to bet 1,100. Wow. And Jay said
Sevens, right?
Sevens, sixes. So I guess Jay bet the river thinking his hand was no good.
I'm really surprised. I got to tell you, I think it's a bad read by Jay. I think Mo would have called with sixes or sevens.
You think he would have called the flop like that? He would have check with sixes and sevens
All
away?
I'm saying is I don't know if Mo's going to play it the same exact way. But if you put Mo on sixes or sevens, I think Mo calls on the river with sixes or sevens. I really do.
I think that the bet there by Jay was enough where he didn't think he had the best hand, though. It's
No,
interesting.
obviously he didn't. He said
Yeah.
it. He goes, you already have sixes or sevens?
Right.
He actually said that.
Yeah.
At first, I actually thought it was a value bet, maybe trying to get paid off by an ace-king or an ace-queen. But when he said that, obviously he was betting Mo to get
Wow.
Mo off of a better hand.
Look at this. Mo's got pocket kings. And Paul is going to open raise here with jacks. He's going to make it 180, and Mo's got pocket kings in the big blind. How is he going to play it, Dave? Remember, if it gets to heads up, he could play it a little bit tricky. He is out of position.
Now, Paul, interesting here. Now, Paul has actually raised it different amounts. He made it 140 to go with ace-queen.
And here we go. Mo is going to smooth call with kings here. He is not going to, he's disguising his hand here a little bit. Here we go to the flop.
The pot is $380.
Wow, and this is going to be interesting because both players have an overpair.
Yep.
Mo checks, and I assume he's going to play it as a check raise.
Almost definitely check raise here.
Paul is going to bet 400 here. And here comes the check raise. He's going to check raise it up 800 more, Dave. And the pot now is $2,000, 800 for Paul to call. And Paul is relatively short here.
Yeah, he is, but what can Paul beat? I mean, actually, if Mo's got a real hand here, you obviously can't beat pocket tens, you can't beat pocket eights.
And Paul is all in, and I assume that Mo's going to call here.
And Mo's in great shape, obviously. The two hearts out there, and Mo's got the king of hearts in his hand.
All in for a little under 700 more.
Paul's going to need a jack. And he's going to have to avoid running hearts as well. And obviously, Mo is definitely going to call this.
Yeah.
No-brainer call.
And this pot is going to be over $4,000 here with this call, about a $4,300 pot. Are they going to do anything? No, Paul says no.
And you think Paul thinks he's ahead here, obviously.
Turns to 7. Paul could get you 9 now as well, but it does not come. Picked up a straight draw there, and kings are good. And that is, of course, we talk about how you can actually trap with an overpair in the blinds in this manner.
Yeah, definitely. And
Okay.
the problem is sometimes people take it to a different degree, and they try to do that in, say, the cutoff spot.
Right.
And then by just smooth calling in the cutoff spot, they get 2 or 3 more callers behind them, and they end up trapping themselves.
Right.
But in the big blind, obviously, there's no fear. The hand is already heads up.
Yeah.
Now, Mo can obviously play that hand in that manner because Paul is not that deep. You have to understand, let's say Mo had $10,000 and Paul's got $10,000. Mo might be a little more scared of pocket aces there. I mean, there's a lot of hands, obviously, Paul could have there.
Right.
Pocket aces being one of them.
Right. But that's just one of those things with Paul's stack size.
Oh, yeah.
There's just no way.
No chance. Paul's only got a couple of $1,000s. You're not going to lose it.
Seat number 4 here is going to raise it up to 140. Now I want to ask you a question about that overpair, high pair play in the blind. Abo is going to smooth call here with ace-queen. I've seen Abo muck this hand 2 raises.
Now, Raid actually raised it up
Yeah.
in the hijack spot with King Jack.
Well, there's the queen. Mareed's got a gut shot, and Abo's hit top pair. Raid's going to check. And Abo's got a lot of chips over there.
Yeah, it's clear. It's an easy bet there.
He's going to bet 200. And is Raid going to make a move here? Wow. He's going to raise it up 400 more with an overcard and a gut shot.
Odd play by Raid, I got to tell you.
And
I guess he sensed weakness. I mean, was he ready to check and fold if Avo bet 400? But because Avo only bet 200? And Avo always kind of, that's his style.
Right.
He always kind of underbets the pot. He likes action. He has no problem with it. But by doing that, sometimes he induces these bluffs. People think he's weak.
And I don't know if Avo's going to continue on with this hand. I don't know how familiar he is with Raid. And again, this is what I was, and look at that, I don't mind the laydown. This is what I was talking about, say, when I go to the Rio and play against some unknown players. If I've watched a guy for an hour and he hasn't done anything out of line, and he makes that move on me, I might just fold. I might pick a better spot, Dave.
Right.
With ace queen. I mean, wouldn't you?
Well, you got to start thinking of the hands you can possibly beat. What hand would he check raise with?
Right.
The problem is, though, is you don't know him.
Right.
So maybe he's the type of guy who likes to check raise with his pocket aces. Who knows?
Right. Heads up.
It's
You
really-
see a guy, George Georgian, does that all the time.
Yeah, it's really strange. Sometimes people have pocket aces, they'll raise it when they get called. They go, okay, I'll check it to him one time, see if I can get some money out of him.
So now you said that, Mo played that hand with kings as a check raise. Would you ever smooth call with aces or kings and lead out on a ragged board, just like you would lead out with your set, hoping to get raised by another overpair?
Of course you would.
Okay.
If Paul was deeper there, the play might have been to lead out into him.
Yeah.
You lead into him for $400. He then makes it $1,000, and then you move all in, and he's pot committed himself.
Four-way action here, limped around. 10-3-10 here with a couple of hearts. No one's got much here, Dave. Looks like it's missed everybody.
Now, it's funny. Now, Mo's image is such that an ace on the turn is going to give Raid the best hand here. But Kirk is actually going to pick up a flush draw. Now, Raid's going to bet just $100. And is Kirk actually going to call here? Kirk's going to call with the naked flush draw.
Turn
Ace
was
of
the
spades.
ace of spades on the turn. River here is a 5.
5 of clubs. Not going to do anything. And this is going to get checked down, and Raid's going to win it with aces up. Aces and 10s with a 5 kicker. Now, Mo's has such an image that, and I'll just, to play devil's advocate on Mo's game there, in that sense where he check raised. Mo's check raise worked because it's Mo, and Paul knows that Mo can make a move with, say, big hearts, or even a hand like ace-10. But let's say you had Mo's hand there with kings, and you check raised it. Now, Paul puts 400 in, and you make it 1,200 to go. Paul's going to throw away jacks very quickly.
That's
against you.
why if I played the hand in Mo's manner, especially if I was playing up in this game where I might be playing a little bit more conservative, I would probably lead out on Paul, and I think he might raise, figuring that I might be leading out with something like pocket eights just to kind of see where he's at.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, if I check raise there, there's not a whole lot that Paul can
Well, that's the
beat.
whole thing. You almost want to lead into him.
Right.
Representing a hand that you might lead into him with would be pocket eights, pocket nines, pocket sevens, something like that where you think maybe he missed.
Or if I call him heads up with Jack 10 suited and flop top pair.
Oh, well, then you're definitely going to lead into him.
Yeah.
The check raise just gives him it gives him an out. He's able now to throw his hand away. He's showing a lot of strength.
Mo's going to raise it up here after a few limpers in the cutoff. He's raised it with Jack 9 of diamonds, and he is going to take it down.
Now, some of you at home are probably wondering, hey, where's Corporation Mike? Corporation Mike is actually in Vegas right now.
Yeah.
He is at the Mandalay Bay, staying at the hotel. And
which I heard is one of the nicest, if not the nicest places to stay at in Vegas.
I've never stayed there, but I hear it's phenomenal. But he's there with his mother, and they're playing some of the World Poker Tour events, some of the preliminary events down there. Well, up there, actually.
Again, if people are coming late into the show, and maybe someone can post this on the 2+2 thread, if you want to hand analyze for the video blog, email us in the title, in the subject, hand for blog. That's what I want to see in the subject. We're going to read them overnight. I already have one picked out. And I will pick another one or another two, possibly, the best of the best. And we'll use it for tomorrow's
And if
video
we don't get to yours tomorrow, we might next week, because we're going to be doing this, obviously, probably every week or every other week.
Probably at least every week, maybe even more often. We had a raise here by Avo with pocket nines, and Marcus called with ace-jack offsuit on
Why
the
don't we do it every day? Every day, on the hour, every hour.
Now, Avo checks here with the king on board, and Mark checks right behind him. Now let's see what Avo's going to do. Well, Avo checked it again here.
And now Mark's bet here.
And Avo, you know, sometimes, like Kathy Liebert says, when you play a hand so weak, you might just give up and not even get involved with it.
Yeah. I mean, in this level, once again, it's tough, though. Okay. Now, traditionally, most players would not check ace-king there, right?
Right.
Or even pocket jacks or pocket queens there. But we don't necessarily know Mark's game. So you're sitting in this game, you don't know how Mark plays. Is he the type of player that hits his ace-king and checks it one time? Maybe he is. I don't know. I had the most interesting thing happen to me last night. Right after we finished the show, I jumped into one of those, we're doing double shootout satellites here.
Right.
For the main event World Poker Tour seat, for our Legends of Poker main event seat. Anyway, I got it heads up between me and this other guy. And I said, hey, you want to do a $200 save? Well, the guy said to me, why don't I just give you now there's $1,200 up for stakes, baby. It's $150 in cash plus $1,050 seat for the double shootout. He goes, why don't I just give you $800 and I'll take the seat? I know you looked bewildered because I was looking bewildered too. I'm going, what?
Well, what were the chip stacks at?
He had me 2-1.
Well, that would probably be a good deal for you, right?
What you think?
So did you take the deal?
He gets $400.
Yeah.
He gets $400. I get $800.
Yeah.
And he has me out shipped 2-1.
So did you take the deal?
I said to him, how about 600? He goes, no, I give you 700. I go, okay, 650. I had to bargain him down because I felt like I was taking advantage of him.
Let's take a look at the first chip count of the night here. So over 40,000 on the table. Of course, Avo's got everybody covered here with 11,500.
A lot of money on the table for Hav and Mo, obviously.
Let's take a look at the differences. This game just started right before the show started. Well, Aaron in C2 is up 2,000. That must have been before the show.
Yeah.
And Mo is up 1,500. Paul down from that beat Kings versus Jacks against Mo. Aaron's going to open raise here in the cutoff. He's got pocket 10s. And Hav is going to call him with Jack 10. I think he only made it 120. So it wasn't a big raise. Hav calls. And this is about a $250 pot. Well, Hav outflopped him, but I don't know if that's the flop you're looking for with Jack 10.
Yeah, you're out of position here.
But it goes check, check. Aaron does not bet the flop. Now the turn's a king. Gets worse and worse for Hav. Check, check again. And the river is a 6. And now Hav's going to throw a little $100 bet out there, and Aaron's not even going to get involved.
Wow, I mean, Aaron played that hand very passively.
Yeah.
He just did not want. He just said, you know what? I hate the flop. I'm not putting another penny in that pot. Nothing wrong with that, obviously, but you've got to realize that you're going to allow worse hands to bet you off in the future. Now, in this case, obviously, Hav had the best hand.
Yeah.
But if he bet, he probably could have taken it down.
Yeah, if he bet on the flop, I mean, that's not the...
Yeah, it was bewildering. I mean, literally, the first level of the shootout, this double shootout, is worth $1,200. So I figured, hey, if I could get 600, 500, I had to bargain him down.
That's crazy.
The guy tried to give me 800.
You know, there's another great promotion going on, Dave, and we'll talk about it more and more, but it's an unbelievable promotion. I'll get to it in a second when there's a lull in the action. Paul is going to raise here. He's going to raise to 160. With Queen 9, and Avo's going to call him heads up with 4-3 suited.
Starting today, huh?
A little bit surprising there from Avo. I mean, out of position heads up with Paul. King 6-5, and you wonder if Paul can just bet and take it down here. I mean, Avo has flopped an open-ended straight draw, the bottom end of it, with two clubs.
Now, heads up, obviously, you're not really scared of a 7 comes off. I'm not scared of Paul having 8-9. But with two clubs out there, once again, heads up, though, you probably think if a 7 or a deuce come out, you're probably good.
Well, it's a $260 bet here by Paul. And again, there's a couple things that might be going through Avo's mind. He might represent clubs. If Paul checks the turn, he just might fire as a bluff on the river. Now he's actually picked up the best hand of the 4.
Yeah, Avo knows how to play it aggressive. He really does.
And it goes check, check. And the river now is a 7, and Avo's got the straight.
Now, I don't think he can bet it, though. Paul took the free card. You got to wonder if Paul took the free card because he had a club draw.
Might you just check and call kind of a half-induce a bluff? Well, I was going to bet.
He puts out kind of a little bit of a blockish bet, but...
Yeah.
You wonder how much value there is to actually betting the river there.
I got an email here from Dave.
Dave Koenig?
Yeah, from Ohio, who I think he posts on 2+2 as Mopar. And everyone can go over and check out Ken and James' website, kenandjames.com, and join his fan club. Obviously, Ken and James are big fans of him.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're doing a Ken and James
We should
fan
sign
club
up. Can we sign us up? We're big fans.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. Once again, live at the bike, I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. We are here together. Paul's going to raise it up. He's got Queen 9 again. He likes that hand, huh?
Queen 9 of diamonds is going to make it 120.
Did he just raise it with Queen 9?
I can tell you, when Paul first started coming on the show, I think he's opened his game up in the last 2 or 3 months.
And he's really short. Is he short? Are those $1,000 chips?
Those are $1,000 chips there.
Okay, so he's not short. He's in there at 3,400 now.
Don't you think he's opened his game up a little bit? Now, Avo is called here. We don't know what he has. He's got to show us his cards over there in seat 7.
Well, this is a much better flop when his hand is done.
Avo's got king, queen off suit. So he did have Paul dominated, but Paul has flopped a flush draw here.
Right.
He's going to bet 200 Navo. He's not going to get involved. So let me talk about this promotion that starts at midnight tonight here, Dave. Of course, everybody that comes down to the Bicycle Casino knows that if you have this, for food, you can get a classic card, which is this black card, and that gets you food. Starting tonight until tomorrow, every time you play an hour, you get scanned, you get clicked.
Right.
If you play a minimum of 50 hours from June 1st to August 10th, you get entered in a free roll tournament where they are giving out, for the top 8 places, 8 main event seats worth $10,000. The next 10 places get a $1,500 seat into a smaller tournament, and I think the next 20 get a $500 seat.
Wait, if you play 50 hours
That's
here,
right.
they're giving away like basically $140,000 worth of Legends seats.
They're giving 8 main event seats away, and then I think another 20 or 25 sub-tournament seats away. It is unbelievable. And the more hours to play, the more chips you start with at the tournament. Now, Hava's going to bring it in here for a raise to Pocket Queens. I mean, over $100,000 in
Oh,
giveaway.
by far, yeah. Like $150,000. That's a great giveaway.
Hob-
This is here at the bike?
Here at the bike. Hava's raised it with Queens, and Avo's smooth column here with 5s. Not a great flop here for Hob. Let's see if he's going to bet into it.
Yeah, it's really puts Hava in a tough spot, obviously. Avo has position on him, and he's going to put a little continuation bet out there. He just doesn't want to give it up. He's going to put a little bet out there and see if that works. Obviously, by putting a little bit of money in there, it really puts Avo in a tough spot.
He's going to bet 280 here, and Avo is going to pick a better spot. Yeah, the more hours you play, Dave, the more chips you get, capped up to 150 hours. Then it's
really?
the max. Yeah.
From June 1st?
June 1st to August 9th, and I think the tournament's on August 10th. A minimum of 50 hours, and that's any no-limit game, $100 and up.
Any no-limit game?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be a no-limit game.
no-limit games.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wow. Are we eligible?
Yeah, of course.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Employees are eligible, from what Mo told me.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. 8 main event seats, and then again, like another 20 to 25 sub-tournament seats, 1,500 and 500.
That is great. And I guess the free roll tournament will be like August 10th, right around
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Oh, I won't be here.
You won't.
No, it's the final table of the main event, World Series main event.
Oh, yeah.
I'm busy. I don't know about you.
Mo is going to raise it up here to 120 with 9-6 suited.
You know, though, after I win the main event at the World Series, will I really need... I could probably buy myself in. Yeah. That's low.
Now, Kirk is going to re-raise Mo. He's got pocket 10s in the small blind. He's not giving Mo credit for a hand here, obviously.
Well, he's right.
And again, though, if Kirk was deep, I still might call here with 9-6 of hearts because it's a disguised hand. And I do have position on
And Kirk has not disguised his hand at all.
Right.
And you like this raise there. And Mo is raising on the button, open raising on the button, with Kirk, and I'm not sure about Mark's play yet, but Kirk in the blind, he easily could be doing some stealing there. Apparently Barry Woods is in beautiful South Carolina, not here. Kind of gives us a nice excuse to see some new faces. Check out our website. Go to www.liveatthebike.com. Got all sorts of cool features over there. Got my blog, Under the Gun with David Tuckman. We also have, you can buy T-shirts, Live at the Bike T-shirts. We've got commentators, bios, archives.
Video blog.
A lot of stuff there. Poker news being updated.
Avo is going to raise it up here to 160 with Ace King. He's going to take it down. So Sir Felix the Cat says he won the New York State Poker Championship on Memorial Day. New Mexico, excuse me. Congratulations.
That's great. Congratulations. I didn't realize New Mexico had a
State
poker championship.
And Barry Wood says he's actually in South Carolina. He's trying to watch the show, but he couldn't quite get the feed. But hello to Barry. Hello to Barry.
Button moves over to seat number 1. Small blind is Aaron. Big blind is Paul. And Raid is under the gun. He's going to limp in here. Limps in with pocket 6s. Jay Katsutani's taking a break.
Avo is going to limp in with a suited ace-7 from mid position here. And Raid's going to make it 240 to go. He's got queen jack offsuit. This is sometimes a move that I might raise here on the button.
Yeah, he's raising more of his position than he is with his hand, obviously. It's a hand that you probably wouldn't even be playing unless you're really in late position.
And I would be a little, well, if Raid calls here, again, you know, those suited aces from up front, even if there is a lot of dead money, I mean, so many things have to happen for you to win a big pot with ace-7 of hearts.
Definitely.
And I wonder if Avo's going to come in if
Right.
Raid calls.
I mean, you've got to realize sometimes also, though, your ace, obviously you can say, well, it is a trap hand.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's enough dead money in that pot where you can take those chances and kind of like,
Well, the other thing,
proceed
too-
cautiously after.
Yeah, the other thing, too, if you proceed cautiously, like if you call one time on the flop, your ace actually might be good.
Yeah, exactly.
But Avo's not going to get involved here.
And you'll see most good players do not get involved with weak aces.
And again, if this flop comes jack, rag here, well, it's 10-3-3. Raid's got the best hand here. He checks, and Mark is going to bet 300.
Now, see, that's the kind of flop, the same way we were talking about with pocket kings. If I have sixes there, there's a good chance I bet right into the razor there with that hand.
Well, I wondered if say, if the flop was jack 3-3, would Raid's give? Now, Raid's going to check raise him here.
And Raid is a check raiser. You can see that he likes the check raise. He's already done it twice in the first 15 minutes of the show.
I mean, the funny thing here, I was just going to say, it's a $600 raise, and I assume that Mark's going to fold unless he's going to call in position and see what happens here.
One of the reasons I don't like the check raise here, I'm check raising with a pretty marginal hand, right?
Right.
Now, I'm forced to commit more chips to buy that pot. While if I bet right into my opponent, I'm forcing my opponent to raise me and put more chips in to buy the pot.
And
And-
Mark is going to make a move. He's going to re-raise Raid here.
Well, he's going to represent it like he's got two queens, or maybe he thinks he has two queens.
1,500 more.
1,500 more.
And look at that. Play over play there. Raid thought he had the best hand. Figured he'd check raise him.
And that's going to basically put Raid all in if he makes this call.
Yeah, and I don't think Raid can call this here. I mean, you've got to put Mark at this point. Don't you have to put Mark on a real hand? Jacks, queens, kings, something like that. I mean, I guess Mark could have, two big spades in his hand. There's not really much of a draw, though, besides that.
This spot is 3,000, 1,500 to call. Raid's getting about 2 to 1.
See, the problem is if you put him on a range of hands, okay, let's say Mark has two big spades. Well, you're about 50-50, right?
Right.
But let's say Mark has got you beat right now, then you are almost drawing dead. You only have 2 outs. So if you say, okay, well, he's got me beat half the time, and the other half the time we're 50-50, well, then you can't call.
Right, getting 2 to 1.
And you've got to really think of those range of hands. There's a good chance here you are drawing to just 2 outs. One of the remaining 6s.
One of the things I was going to ask you, because I thought Raid was going to fold on the flop, is, when you bring a hand in with, say, offsuited Broadway cards that aren't that strong, like if he raised with Queen 10 here, sometimes when you hit your hand, you're still not even playing the strength of your hand, because your hand still is almost like a bluff catcher if you had Queen 10 here, right?
No, you're really just playing. You're playing the position.
I mean, if
of-
Mark had Queen 10 here, I don't think he would re-raise the flop. He might call. He's re-raising now as a bluff.
because he knows he has to.
Right.
But he's using the power of his position, which is really what. Hey, that's good poker. You see good poker players. Most good poker players play a lot of hands in position and not that many hands out of position, and this is one of the reasons for it.
Now, one of the things that might be going through Raid's head here, and if you were with 6s, is why would this guy re-raise me? Is he not scared of a 3? Wouldn't he smooth call with these stack sizes if he had an overpair and put me all in on the turn? I mean, is that something that might go through your head?
It might. The problem is, though, if you don't know this guy well enough, is he the kind of guy who would smooth call? Or is he the kind of guy that would push right away? Who knows? You and I obviously don't know Mark well enough to know how he would play. How would he play kings there?
Raid folds there.
I mean, if I had kings there, there's a good chance I might just smooth call.
Right.
After he check raised me, then I would force him to bet into me on the turn, and then I would move them all in. Yeah.
And, of course, the reason why you would play it that manner, because if he has something like 7s or 8s, he is forced to bet on the turn if a rag comes, and now he feels pot committed. Whereas now you re-raise him in position, and you let him off the hook, and now he can fold on the flop. Right?
He's raised to get information, and you're
Yeah.
giving him the information he's looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes people do that. They raise for information. And oftentimes what you want to try to do is, if you can, you almost want to confuse them a little bit.
Yeah. Jerry from San Diego says, what's the value of the chips? We'll go over that again.
Yeah.
Brown chips are $10 chips, whites are hundreds, grays are thousands, and big purples are 5,000s.
Right.
We're playing 20, 40, no limit hold'em.
And you see those stacks. Most of the players keep them in stacks of 20. So when you see 20 white chips, that's $2,000. 20 brown chips is $200.
Kirk raised it up there with ace 10 of spades. There's a
There's $1,000 chips there. So you look at that really quickly. You go, okay, that's 4,100 plus 400. That's 4,500 plus 3,000 $1,000 chips. Right there, that's quickly $7,500.
Yeah, it looks like we got our first email here with the subject hand for blog, and I actually didn't get the email, David Steffen, so send it again.
All we got was the game.
Yeah, but if you want your hand considered for tomorrow's video blog, send it with the subject hand for blog. I already have kind of one picked out and looking for another one or two, and I'm going to review them tonight.
And once again, if you're not sure what the blog is, go to liveatthebike.com, check out the video blog on the left-hand side, and it's where Bart and I are going to kind of dissect our own hands and your hands on the show, and we really go into deep analysis. And obviously, the more information you give us about the hand, the better we can dissect it.
It looks like Hav opened this one for a raise in seat 6 with Jack 9 of spades.
Wow.
And
In first position, too.
Yeah, Mo's going to call with pocket 3s.
Not a play I often like to do, but hey, once in a while you mix it up. In this case, you probably put Hav on pocket jacks minimum.
Well, he's flopped a straight draw here, I assume. No, he checked it. Wow. And now is Mo going to bet here with 3s, figuring he might have the best hand? But it goes check. The turn is a 4.
Well, I'm really surprised Hav is, by raising under the gun, he is representing pocket 10s, pocket jacks, pocket queens.
I think with Hav's image, if he bets the flop, Mo just gets away from it there.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think the reason Mo called it was because he put Hav on a big hand.
Yeah.
Figured if he hit a set, he could win a big pot.
You know, it's funny, we were talking about, raising. I mean, I raised, Dave, this afternoon in a somewhat of a tight table with 8-9 of clubs under the gun.
Right.
And that's the first time I've raised in a hand like that in 1 or 2 weeks. Usually when I'm coming into the pot in early position, it's with a good hand. Occasionally you need to mix it up like that a little bit. But I'm just saying, I'm amazed. Even some of the players that I respect a lot sometimes play a little bit too much from early position with speculative pre-flop pull mix.
Yeah, it's weird. We see Greek Poker God do this all the time. Now, Raid's got pocket aces here on the button. We see the Greek Poker God actually do it very often, probably 2 or 3 times a night.
Yeah.
Hav maybe does it once a week.
Right. That's
because I got to tell you, if Hav raises in first position,
yeah.
I'm throwing away ace queen
like
it's nothing.
Raid's going to raise here with aces. I don't think he's going to get any action here.
I think Hav just forgot to bet there on the flop. Obviously, one of the most important things when you're playing in a poker game is not only know how your opponents play, but know what your image is. Know how your opponents see you. This is an absolutely fabulous promo, I got to tell you.
Yeah, had you actually heard that before?
No. This is the first I cannot believe it. 8 main event seats we're giving away.
And then, like I said, another 20 to 25 of other tournament seats.
Now, it's a free roll.
Yep.
For anybody that plays in 50 hours, we're talking about, we're probably going to have somewhere in the, I'm assuming it's been 500 people.
400 to 500 people. What a deal, though, man.
It's great.
Like a $100,000 free roll.
Hey, I got to hand the Bicycle Casino, obviously, the Bicycle Casino, one of the best casinos in the whole world, and really one of the best poker halls anywhere. But this is a first-class promo, it really is.
Paul raised there with King 10 of spades, and he's going to take it down there without a flop.
And I get this email, little post here from Baron Banger Truth. At some point, someone at the bike should fill Tuck in on the various promotions offered at the casino so that he doesn't appear so dumbfounded when Bart relays the information. Baron, come on, I'm an actor, man. I knew. I'm just playing dumb.
I don't think you knew.
Exactly. You didn't think I knew. Of course I knew. Come on.
Jay's going to bring this in with Queen 7. And
you guys actually all bought that?
Mo's going to call with 7-8 suited. Jay's hit top pair, and he's going to bet out.
And this game was pretty straightforward, and now Jay's in the game, and he's going to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, especially, now that there isn't a mic in the game, Jay can really play kind of his laggish style and really drive the table, obviously.
Definitely. And the best players in the world, those are the ones that can adjust and do adjust on the fly according to the game they're playing in. I got to tell you, man, I love Wednesdays. I love every day. Every day's good, but Wednesday's so much fun. Watching big stack, deep stack, no limit hold'em. A lot of money on this table.
160.
I want to congratulate Philly Al Barberi actually came in 3rd place last night. He has been on an absolute tournament tear. Won $5,000 in last night's no limit hold'em event here at the Bicycle Casino.
Paul is going to raise here with 7-10 suited, and he's going to take it down. Paul really opening his game up.
Well, he's adjusting to the game here. It's a very tight table right now.
Barry Woods actually told me he's actually in South Carolina for BMW Performance Driving School. And that is actually a thing my dad has a Viper. He went from Boston to Houston for a weekend for Viper, with these performance cars that kind of teach you how to, kind of drive them properly.
Right. That's kind of cool.
And usually people that have those types of cars can afford to, take a trip to go to a driving school for a weekend.
Actually, my wife and I, Melissa and I, wanted to go to they have Camp Jeep.
Oh,
because both my wife and I, we both own Wranglers.
Right.
We have his and her Wrangler. We want to go there, and it's kind of like they teach you off-road driving and stuff like that, and they have all sorts of like outdoorsy kind of things for Jeep owners. A lot of fun. Dying to go.
Well, my dad had a great time in his Viper Performance School.
Of course.
Right, he's going to race here with Ace Jack. We're not going to see it flop. The game's kind of a little tight now. You wonder if Jason's going to open it up at C5.
I've said many a time, in my next life, I want to come back as Barry Woods' kid.
Button moves over here to Kirk in seat 9. Really interesting hand between Kirk and Avo, Dave, right before the show. I'm really looking forward to getting into it.
I got to tell you, man.
And that was in the 5-10 game.
I'm getting a boner here just in anticipation.
Don't get too close. Yeah, I don't think anyone would notice anyways. Under the gun limp here by Paul. And we're heads up between Aaron and Paul in the blind.
Nice flop for Aaron there.
Yeah, look at that. 4-5 at diamonds, ace 7-3, flush draw, and a gut shot wheel. He's double gutted.
He's double gutted a 6 or a deuce and a diamond. His hand is huge, and you can see, even though he's behind right now with 5 high, he is a 2-1 favorite.
And look at this. Paul is going to make a move here. He's going to raise, and Aaron's hand is big enough to even push here.
Definitely, I re-raise huge here.
He is big enough to push.
Now this is only a problem though. If you raise, and it's a question I'm going to throw out there for everybody. If you raise this back without pot committing yourself and you miss on the turn, well then what do? I mean, I think you have to raise this.
He's moved all in here.
Well, that takes all the problem out of it.
Yeah.
But let's say you have too many chips to move all in, and you re-raise and you get called. Well, then what do you do when when the 10 of spades comes out on the turn?
Right. Double gut shot and a flush draw. In essence, basically.
And the jack of diamonds on the turn would have got it for him right away.
In essence, it is the good old 15 outer there with 2 cards to come.
I mean, it's just a question that I wonder. Obviously, your hand is big enough to raise, but at the same time, if you raise and you're out of position with a draw and you get called, what do you do on the turn if you miss? You're really in a tough spot there. You keep firing right into your opponent. Sometimes the best way to play that actually is to check and call, or bet it first. When he raises you, you call, and then on the turn, when the turn comes out, whether you hit or not, you put in a pot-sized bet.
Email here from Jared Pondalik. He says, have you guys heard anything about Corporation Mike? How is he doing over there at the, what is it, Mandalay Bay?
Mandalay Bay, yeah. I haven't heard anything. Somebody can check it out. I would assume, does Card Player actually cover the World Poker Tour's preliminary events?
Yeah, of course.
Well, somebody check it out for us. Cardplayer.com. See if there's anything on Corporation Mike.
Look at this. Paul's got Queen 8 and Raid limped in, and he checked top 2 pair on that board.
Yeah.
Paul's checked again, and now Raid is going to bet 120.
120?
Yeah.
Now, what is Mike's actually? I know Mike's Mike LeBlanc, by the way, for anybody at home. If you want to go check it out, Mike LeBlanc. His mom's name is Trish LeBlanc.
I was listening to a story about a hand that was played yesterday with Joe Wynn. Again, Joe Wynn, not the player that we've had on the show before, but the pro that we often talk about. And a guy, his opponent made a straight flush on the turn. Joe had the nut flush.
Ooh.
And Joe he lost the absolute minimum because nobody bet the turn. And the river paired the board, and Joe just check called because he thought the guy had a big hand. He thought he might have filled up. And Joe lost the absolute minimum. And I'm dumbfounded when I ask, and maybe I should shut off the table. People still at this level just do not understand. When you're deep, and the guy had Joe Wynn covered, they were both $4,000 deep. The pot at that point was $300. How do you not build the pot up there?
Right, I'm gonna check it here and then bet, what, 3,000 on the river?
God, it's unbelievable.
It really is.
And Joe Wynn,
especially against Joe Wynn, because you know if Joe Wynn's in a hand, he's got a big hand.
And remember also, he loves to check raise, Dave. I mean, I have respect for his game. I just think he plays kind of a check raise game so much. It's just he overplays the check raise, in my opinion.
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
Well, the thing is, he so often is checking and folding that the check raise for him works, because you've got to realize that the way he plays, anytime he bets into the pot, he doesn't get any action.
Right.
So he almost is forced to do the check raise move. Now, you bet your hands, and you also bet your bluffs, you also bet your draws, so you get a little more action when you bet. He doesn't.
We had a raise here by Mark with king, queen suited. Paul's going to call here with ace-5 of clubs in the small blind. Raid calls with 8-10, and Avo's going to come in with king-jack. Well, it's kind of a little mini raise.
Yeah, you and I are in disagreement on a hand like ace-5 of clubs. I think that hand is playable, especially if you are a very good player, because you know how to get away from it. Speaking of it, you look at this hand here, he's flopped an absolute monster.
He's flopped a monster here, but no one else has an ace, and it gets checked around. Well, the turn now is a queen.
And he's going to put money in the pot, and you assume he'll probably take this down. Nobody else has really got much of anything.
He's going to bet 450, and is Mark really going to get involved here? I mean, could easily Paul have checked an ace here? He did call a pre-flop raise.
Very easy. Paul could have checked the raise. Remember, he's in first position. Why wouldn't he check raise, maybe, the initial raiser, which is Mark?
And Mark gets out of there.
Now, you and I, obviously, sometimes you wonder why these good players call raises with a hand like ace-5 of clubs, and I don't see anything wrong with it, because a player of Paul's skill, and when we talk about a good player like that, they have no problem. They know they're not just looking for an ace.
I like the lusty blind.
I mean, in a weird way, it's almost the same way as calling. Would you call a raise with 6-8 suited? Well, yeah, you would. Obviously, you're not just looking for 1-8 or 1-6. You're looking for some sort of straight, some sort of flush. You're looking for two pair, trips. Well, the same thing with ace-5, really. You're looking for a straight, you're looking for a flush, you're looking for two pair, you're looking for trips. You just don't want one pair. If you start thinking of ace-5 suited the same way as 8-6, you wouldn't be real excited if the flop came out jack 8-4, would you? No, of course not.
I'm 30 years old, with 24 years old.
The button's going to move over here to seat 4. $140 raise on the button. $120.
Yeah, right. He's raised with nothing here.
And look at this. Jay Katsutani's come over the top of him with queen deuce.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's full of crap. He thinks he's on a button steal, and he is on a button steal. And, Raid doesn't have enough money here. He's obviously, obviously he's going to lay this down. He's just kind of like playing a little Hollywood here. Doesn't want to make it look like he's got nothing, like he was on a complete steal.
Yeah.
Kind of saving face. So it was funny, actually. I flew in from New York, got in about 3:30, and I had told myself I wasn't going to really play last night. I said, maybe I'll play for an hour or two. Just kind of get myself warmed up again. And then I jumped into this shootout. And I was kind of psyched because Mo was in there and everything, and a couple other decent players. And I was actually I was really psyched about it, that I was able to, I think, win. What did I win? $510 in it or something like that. Not a big score, but hey, I'll take it.
And I want to correct myself. Alan, who sometimes played on the show in the 300 to 500 game a couple months ago, and we might see him on the show now because he's actually given his 2 weeks notice and propping. He's rode on 2+2. The tournament is actually a $100 buy-in when you qualify. It's 100 plus 25. It's not a free roll.
That's how they normally. The bike does. Their free rolls are usually like that, and you've got to understand that it's still a phenomenal deal. Nice flop for Raid here, huh?
Now, Raid was the pre-flop raiser with 5-6 of hearts.
Now, he's got bottom pair, plus he's open-ended, plus he has backdoor hearts.
And it goes check on the flop. Well, the turn is a queen.
How does Raid not bet that flop?
Check again, and Mo's got a draw. And the river here is a 4. And
Mo bet blind.
He bet 70 blind here. But Raid made the straight. Is there any value to raising here, Dave?
480.
He's going to raise it to 480. Would you raise a good player like Mo here?
Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah.
You probably won't get called, but you never know.
Yeah.
Like you said, there is some value in not showing your hands. I can't believe Raid didn't bet the flop or the turn, though.
I don't understand that. But yeah, again, so that is a $100 tournament. Excuse me, not a free roll. But still, it's basically $100,000 added in tournaments.
Right, you've got to realize you're playing in a $100 tournament. So there'll be probably, let's say there's 450 people in there. You're talking about a $45,000 tournament, and it's probably about $140,000 added.
Right.
In Legends of Poker events. That's a nice overlay.
Yes, it is.
Once again, I won't be there for it, but hey.
Right, of course not. Seat 3 here is going to raise it up to 150. He's got King, Queen off suit. And that's Paul. Kirk is in the big blind here with 9-10 off suit. He's going to take it down.
Paul has recognized that the table is playing it a little bit tight, and he's going to pick up a lot of these small little blinds here and there. And he's, you know, at $60 a pop, you can make the argument that these blinds are actually worth stealing a little bit more so than in a 5-10 game. Now, somebody would say, well, it's all relative, though, isn't it? It is all relative, but you got to understand that oftentimes in the 5-10 game, you still have the same $3,000 behind.
Email here from Omaha. Larry says, hey, guys, just want to know, who's a better tourney player between the two of you? Thanks, Omaha Larry. Very, I guess, subjective question, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of subjective. I mean, it's difficult, obviously. Bart and I, neither one of us have been playing that many tournaments. Bart plays more online than I do.
Abo's going to raise it here to 170 with ace-9 of diamonds and the cutoff. And Mark makes the call with ace-jack. Here we go to the flop. 9-8-7, both players miss. See if Abo's going to continuation bet. No, he's going to check right behind him. Well, the turn's a 9. Now Abo picks up the best hand. Mark's got a straight chart of the 10, though.
Yeah, he can catch a jack or a 10 to win this.
And Abo's going to bet now. He's going to bet 150. 250. And Mark is going to lay it down.
Yep, take it down, Avo. Avo picks his spots here.
Seems like from the first hour of the show here, it seems like Mark is pretty aware of what's going on the table. Just the feel for it.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody's really out of their element.
Yeah.
Raid's probably made the most kind of scratch your head kind of plays. Maybe we'll put some sort of challenge between me and you, wondering who is the better tournament player between the two of you. Obviously, you can't judge it by one tournament or even a million of them, but maybe we'll put some sort of challenge. I'm not sure how many World Series of Poker events you're playing, or really even how many events I'm playing, but maybe we'll do some sort of challenge when we figure it out. You know, the winner has to, the loser has to dress in drag or something like that.
Limp here. Now look at Kirk. He's limped in here on the butt with King Jack of Hearts. Some people at this table would raise that up. He chooses to limp. Four-way action here. It's a $160 pot. Queen 7-7 here, and it looks like pocket fours is in the lead. Mark.
Now sometimes when I see a flop like that and I have fours, I really only view it as one overcard to my pair. Now obviously you can still be behind pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 5s.
Well, now Mark is going to bet. He's going to bet 50. And you know, the fun thing about the power of this bet is that I think that you only get called here by a queen. I don't think somebody calls at the 6. You were up front, so you check the flop, but of course everyone fears of the sandbagging of the 7. You might also check a queen there. I don't even think maybe someone with ace-6 calls there. I mean, it depends on the player. It's just
probably not.
You could definitely get a 6 out there.
Well, how many players from up front would check, say, Queen Jack?
Yeah.
And see what happens first, because they don't want to bet it right away. How many players even would check in the blind from a blind, say, 7-5? They're trip 7.
Button's going to move here to seat number 1. Just an open limp here with 9-5 of clubs.
Good players.
We're heads up here. Mark and Paul. Paul's got 10-7 off suit.
Check.
Ace-6 deuce here on the flop. Check, check. Turns a 4.
10 high is going to win this.
Yep.
Remember, it's your best 5 cards. So both players have a pair of deuces with an ace. Paul's got 10-7 there, while Mark's got deuces, ace, 9-6. Interesting email here from Zalman.
Yeah.
Says, I enjoy your show very much. However, you will never be taken seriously as long as you're using colloquialisms such as, does he have a hard-on for king-queen, and he only has a dry-ass flush draw. These are quote-unquote, by the way, as well as the occasional F and S word. Children could be listening. Also, your vignette about smoking an herb, quote-unquote, with a water pipe is not a good thing to say to a wide audience. Otherwise, good. Note, because everybody is over-aggressive these days, I've won a lot of big pots by checking and calling until the river, and then check raising. Is that a well-kept secret? What do you think? Zalman. Thank you for the email, Zalman. We do appreciate the constructive criticism.
Now, we had a raise here by Jay Katsutani with King Jack. He made it 1:30 to go, and he's going to get called in several spots here, and this pot is over $500. Queen 8-5 with a couple spades.
Mo's still in the lead, huh?
Yeah, and it gets checked around. Not a big flop for anybody. Turns a deuce.
This table is somewhat passive post-flop, isn't it?
Mo did not bet the flop in position there on with sevens. And now Jay's going to come out and bet.
And you wouldn't think the deuce helped Jay. And I think Mo is going to call this minute. I think Mo is going to call this. I really do. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's almost like, I mean, Jay doing it, those style of E plays, checking the flop and then betting the turn, that's almost like me checking the flop and betting the turn in the sense that I would bet a set of queens just like Jay would. I don't really put him on anything here.
Yeah, but might you check, say, ace-8 on the flop? You might.
River's a 9 here, and Jay's going to come out and bet again. He's going to bet 1,000.
And I think Mo's
Mo
going
is
to
going to quickly call here.
And I'm going to say one thing. Does this answer your question? Remember that earlier hand when Mo called him down with ace-jack and then threw it away? Now do you think Mo would have called him down with pocket sixes or sevens?
Right.
Clearly. Which is why I thought it was a bad play by Jay.
But again, I just say that Jay plays his hand pretty straightforward. When he hits something, I don't think that he would check queens there, and then he kind of then bets when everybody's weak, kind of like what Barry Woods does, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There were 2 spades out there on the flop. I figure he's definitely going to bet.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and then Mo just called him all the way. Well, you know, Zalman, it's a good email, but I have to, you know, we only really get into those types of conversations when we're doing, when I was alone on Monday talking about the Salvia, in a game where the action spoke for itself, and I mean, to be honest with you, it was a pretty slow game. So, I mean, unless you just want to hear silence, it is a live show for 3 hours. Obviously, when we were doing TV, it would be much different, Dave. But this is live at the bike. We like to keep it real and politically incorrect.
I'm going to be the same on TV or not. I don't care. I'm putting it out there, okay? I'm putting it out there for my audience, for our fans, okay? But I do appreciate the email.
Paul's going to raise it up here.
Any constructive criticism is always good. I like it. Now, I was wondering what you thought. Zalman was saying that the way that he or she plays, I'm not sure. Is Zalman a boy or girl?
I don't know. Can't quite tell.
Okay. Well, we'll just say it's kind of like Chris, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, though, I'm not sure. No disrespect. But checking and calling and then check raising, if you're playing in some weak competition, I guess that might work. But eventually, good players will come on to that. Generally, checking and calling is not winning poker, at least what we've seen. If it's working in your game, hey, great.
Mo's going to raise it up here to 220. He's got pocket rockets. Now, Avo is deep enough and Mo's deep enough. Is Avo going to call him? He limped in under the gun with 3s.
Now look at the difference between Mo's raises, and if there's any leak in Mo's game, and I really don't think there are many, one of the leaks is I think that he changes his raise size depending on what he has. And I think he gives an awful lot of information away. I think based on this raise, you could almost say this guy's got aces, kings, queens, or jacks.
Queen 8-6 here, and I assume Avo's going to check and fold.
And if you're Avo, you can call it because you know he has aces, kings, or queens.
Oh, what is it?
You know, it's interesting. Tony T has emailed us, and I got this comment again. It seems like most of the people were able to follow the video blog pretty well in terms of bet size and stuff. But we've got a couple of emails talking about where I should have bet a little bit on the turn against Asian Mike. And I kind of scratched my head because that makes me wonder if people did accurately follow the bet sizes and the stack sizes. Because if anyone watched that blog, I cannot bet and not call a check raise with the stack sizes in my stack.
Right.
And with the pot sizes. And that was the peculiar thing.
I mean, I
about
guess the
hand.
only thing some people are saying is theoretically, if you were to bet, say, 400 or 500 on the turn, you can take a free showdown.
Yeah, but I only had then 400 left.
Yeah, no,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
you're
Just
right. Yeah.
$130 bet here by Jay. You mean if he had Jack 10, you mean there, I bet, and then take a showdown at the end? And he's scared of hearts.
Now, interestingly enough, rarely do I change my game because of collection pot, but might it be correct in a game where this is a collection pot? Might it be correct now? Jay has raised it with a mediocre holding. Now, there's no flop, there's no collection, but Hob has called it.
Now, Hob called with King 10, and Hob check raises him as he flops top pair, and Jay is out of there.
And now Hob, I believe, has to pay the collection. And if you start thinking of, like, let's say calling a raise from Jay out of the small blind with King 10 is slightly positive EV, well, then you have to pay the $100 collection. It doesn't become negative EV? I mean, as you start playing poker and you start thinking about these things, don't you have to think about this?
Yeah. Look at this.
Go ahead.
I get an email here from my mother.
Oh, this is great.
I'm watching and listening to you, Bart. Heard you talk about Dad's Viper. He enjoyed that. Called him at work and told him, "You're looking good. Saw you with your glasses. Also saw your ad in Bluff magazine. Forwarded to a bunch of people. Still have a hard time believing I raised a professional poker player." The funny thing is that I actually took the Bluff magazine home because I was going to send it to her. I never told them about that, so somebody must have given it to them.
Mom's proud.
My mother's sister, my aunt, she actually plays poker at Foxwoods quite a bit, so that might have been where they saw it. Very good. We've got an email from your parents before?
No, my parents can't figure it out.
Oh, that's right. They can't get the show ever to load.
They can't figure it out. No, they always get on. Like, I tell them, okay, it's 7 to 10. So I go, okay, Mom, for you it's 10 to 1.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, so I'll turn it on at 10. Well, for whatever reason, she turns it on at 10, and if it's not on right away, she assumes it's broken and she doesn't try it anymore.
Right.
I go, Mom, just stay there for 5 minutes. Forget it.
Now Hob is going to raise here on the button. He's going to make it 190 to go with ace-queen, and Kirk has got ace-king here. And I think Kirk is trying to figure out what he's going to do. And wait a minute. Kirk has re-raised to 500. So raised by Hob, and Kirk comes over the top with ace-king, and Hob gets away from him. I mean, at that point, if you put Kirk on a range of hands of what he would re-raise, ace-queen is absolute garbage.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Absolute garbage. It's a nice play down there by Hob.
Well, I mean, Kirk's got 1 of 5 hands. He's got probably aces, kings, queens, jacks, or ace-king.
And I'm going to tell you,
and there's only one hand that you're even 50-50 against.
And against Hobbs' raise, remember, it's not like Corporation Mike raising on the button. Against Hobbs' raise, I don't even know if Kirk re-raises with jacks or maybe even queens, Dave.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a little surprised he did it with ace-king.
Yeah. Big raise. Obviously, obviously Kirk was scared of seeing a flop. Obviously, he did not want to see a flop.
Right.
And does your mom and your dad... Well, I know, weird. The email here is from...
Well, it's probably from my dad's account.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Yeah. Raise it up here by Paul with 10-3 suited. Again, he is really opening his game up. Look how he's attacking Kirk's blind. And it's Kirk in the big blind every time. And he's raising pretty much all the time with Kirk's blind.
And if you're a tournament player or a cash game player, those are the things that you really have to pick on. If you're sitting down in the game and you start going, okay, where am I going to make my money from? You go, okay, that guy there, I'm going to attack his blind, say, 3 out of every 4 orbits.
Yeah.
And if you just steal his blind 3 out of every 4 orbits, that'll keep you afloat. Then, obviously, you can pick up the occasional big hand here or there, and you actually make some money. And I don't think Paul even minds if he gets called by Kirk, because the odds are Kirk is going to call, then check and fold.
It's going to get limped around here. Kirk is going to fold the small blinds, and it's heads up between the big blind and a late position limper, which was Hob with a couple of ducks. And one of the ducks are dead, so it's going to be difficult for him to hit his set here.
And he's still in the lead here, but he has no idea. But he's in position. I imagine he's going to put a little bet out there, try to take it away. And he doesn't even have a chance to put the money in the pot because Mark is folded. The second Hob even reached for his chips. You got to like that.
button's going to move over here to Kirk in seat 9.
If you want to check out my new blog, I've actually updated it. I apologize for the delay. I've been a little lax on it. But you can go to the liveatthebike.com, our website.
Go to our website for everything.
Yeah, pretty much. On the left-hand side is Under the Gun with David Tuckman. You can check it out. I updated it just today.
160.
Abo's going to bring this one in for a $160 raise with Jack 10 of spades. One off the cutoff. Mo easily folds King Jack off suit. Now, Aaron's got pocket fives, and he is not going to play. And he is rather deep.
And Jay's not going to play either. He's not. Now, one thing about Jay's game, now this is the difference between Jay and Corporation Mike. Jay is acutely aware of position and the player he is playing against. And he does not want to play against a solid player out of position with a hand that could be dominated. So you see him quickly throw away Jack 10 himself.
And have we seen Aaron play a hand yet in seat 2? I mean,
And he
Mike,
played the
besides
one
that wheel draw on the diamonds
No, that's it.
push.
And he
This
won
guy
himself
is
about $500.
squeaky tight, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Of course, you can do that in a cash game, though. I mean,
Yeah, you
it
can.
is a cash game.
It only cost you, think about it, it only cost you $60
Yeah.
per orbit, right? Well, that one time where Paul made a play at him, he won about $500. Well, that's going to pay for 10 orbits. Or 9 orbits, actually.
Abo's going to limp in here with ace 4 of hearts. And we're going to see it heads up. Big blind against Avo.
Well, what a flop for Avo.
Yeah, pair and a nut flush draw.
Yeah, and
Raid's got middle pair here. He might lead out here, Dave. Let's see.
reason I like Avo's hand here, he's got bottom pair. It's likely that if he hits trips, it's probably good. He also knows if he hits the ace, he's probably good as well.
Now, Avo bets and Raid calls. Now, the turn's a deuce. Now, you got to think Raid's got something here, but I still think, Avo might take a card, but you can semi-bluff here. I think your hand is big enough where you should be able to get a guy off of week 9. He chooses to take a card, and now he's made aces up.
I'm going to tell you something. Is there any way, I don't mind taking the card there, is there any way the way Raid checks and calls, is there any way Raid has hearts also, and you almost want to put a little
You hope that,
pot
yeah.
builder,
Right.
let him call, and if the heart comes, bingo, you're going to win a huge pot.
Avo's going to bet 300 here.
I mean, if I was in Avo's spot, obviously we know better because we can see the cards, but if I'm in Avo's spot, there's a good chance I cut Raid on hearts, and I'm just, come on, heart, come on, heart. Those are the times where you can really, you can really make bank.
Why does he by himself? He won 100,000 in Russia. His share.
I got to tell you, tomorrow's June 1st, and June is the month of the World Series. I am so excited. I can't tell you.
And you're going to be heading off.
I'll know
For the-
more
for the
on
fir-
Friday.
Oh, you don't. Yeah, you're not exactly sure because you're going to manipulate what you
Exactly.
requested,
I'm
right?
kind of looking at your schedule and seeing where you're going, and then I'm going to manipulate it with that.
Let's take a look at the second chip count of the night here.
Maybe not.
There we
Okay. Almost 50,000 on the table. Avo's still got the table covered. Paul with 8,000. Hob with 7,000. Jay is pulling up the rear. He's only got 1,900. Not a very big buy-in for Jay. Let's see how they're doing. Mo's our big winner so far, up 2,700. Aaron and Mark also up about $2,000, and the rest of the table is down.
We got some developments here in the hand. Aaron has flopped the flush here on the button. Queen, Jack of spades. I believe it was limped around. He did not raise on the button. And the flop comes King, 8, deuce, all spades.
Nobody's got anything now.
Yep. He bets 160 and he takes it down. Look at this. Post here by Pajeto. Barton Tuck, I have the WPT Invitational on the tube. I guess they're playing it tonight? Yeah. And I just saw Cheryl Hines complaining about the bad beat that Dave gave her. It was only about 5 seconds, and she didn't mention your name, but she wasn't very happy about it, if you remember. Secondly, Jesse Jones, who knocked me out, made it to the final table. Yeah, that guy knocked me out. I had kings, and he had ace-queen, and he would have been knocked out. I would have been in a nice position. I was down to 5 tables, I think.
Right.
And I would have been in a very nice position, but he flopped an ace. And he ended up making the final table, Jesse Jones.
How funny.
And that was a great time. The
That was a good time.
Invitational.
It really was.
Yeah. Great time. And I think I TiVo'd that. So I'll go home and watch that. And the Bear actually ended up winning that, and I played with him for a good 5 or 6 hours the second day, or 4 or 5, however
Yeah.
long I lasted.
Really a phenomenal guy, phenomenal player.
Yeah.
We actually were lucky enough to have the Bear, Barry Greenstein,
Yeah.
do about 6 hours of commentary on our show. If you missed that, you can check it out last August. Go to the archives. Go to liveatthebike.com. Click on the archive banner, and you can check out. I want to say it's August 30th and August 24th.
It is. I think it is listed in the notes.
It is okay. Well, obviously we have it really. It's kind of actually splayed out really nicely.
Right.
But you can check it out in 6 hours of really priceless commentary from Barry Greenstein.
$230 raise here by Raid. He's got ace-6 offsuit, and he is going to take it down. And, you know, I was actually lucky enough. You know, there aren't going to be a whole lot of times where I actually get to play a hand that matters against Barry Greenstein. It's probably going to be in a tournament. You know, unless for some reason I'm going to be playing in the 4,000, 8,000 game in Bellagio in the next 20 years.
Which hey, might happen.
The point is that, you know, I haven't played in a lot of $10,000 tournaments either, but I actually got to play against him heads up 2 or 3 times, and I think I won all the pots for whatever that is worth.
Right.
You know, it's just an interesting experience.
It's always an interesting experience when you get to play with some of those big names at the table. I've been lucky enough to play with Daniel Negreanu now. Actually,
a few times,
3 separate tournaments I've been at the table with him. And that's always an interesting experience.
Well, Mo's got pocket queens here in the big blind. Now, Hava's going to raise it to 110. Now that Avo comes in between, I don't think Mo is going to play it like he did with kings against seat number 4.
No chance.
And he's going to raise.
Yep, and he's going to raise it huge. Mo loves to do that big raise. Just kind of over-bets the pot.
And again, you know, a term that we haven't used that much on the show, this can sometimes be interpreted as a squeeze play, meaning that Hava's raised, Avo is called, there's enough dead money where Mo might do this with a less than premium hand because of the dead money.
Well, definitely. It's a great play if you think about it. Now, Hava's raising on the button with what could be any number of hands. It's a button raise. Now, Avo is just smooth call, which means he probably doesn't have a huge hand. And now you're going to raise. Mo could have anything. I mean, he's not going to show the cards. So one of the great things about tournament poker is that you do get a chance to play against Barry Greenstein, Johnny Chan, Daniel Negreanu, anybody you want to. Ronnie McMillan. Our own Ronnie McMillan. I actually want to congratulate Ronnie McMillan for he got to the final table and chopped up a nooner. Small buy-in over at a different casino today. Won himself a quick $1,000.
Limped around here. Looks like a limp here in seat 1 with pocket 8s. I want to see 4-way action. $160 pot here. We got pocket 5s in there for Avo.
Well, there's a set of 5s.
Now, Kirk's got a queen rag here, Dave, from up front. Is he going to get that involved? He checks it.
Yeah.
And Avo is not going to bet there. Well, it is a rainbow board. Now, the turn's at 10. Avo is filled up now. And now Mike Kirk think he's good. But Kirk plays it so conservative, he checks, and now Mark thinks he's good. He's
why
actually
not?
third best.
Yeah. And Kirk was he wanted to keep this pot as small as possible. Hey, if nobody bet ever, he'd be happy just taking down what the pot was in there.
I think Avo's going to maybe build this one up, hope a guy has a 10 in here.
Definitely.
He's going to raise it up to 900 here. Wow! And Mark is going to call with pocket 8s.
Are you kidding?
And this pot is $2,500. He doesn't believe Avo. The river's a 7. It's a spade. And now Mark's going to throw a little bet out here. Maybe trying to represent backdoor spades. It's a $2,000 bet. It's a
I got to tell you,
bet.
if I'm Avo, depending on what Mark's got left, and I don't think Mark's got much, I move all in.
Really? You think
I do.
so? You don't think that this guy could bet out on a spade draw on the turn and then get there on the river and bet?
Why am I scared of spades? Avo's got a full house.
Oh, that's true.
Right. I mean, what am I scared of?
Yeah.
10-7? 10-queen? Okay, I mean, that's all I'm scared of, really, is queen 10 or 10-7.
I forgot the fact that the
right,
turn
right.
here
I
is
see
a
what you
10.
mean. I mean, I don't think he's got enough money. I move all in here. If the guy's got a bigger full house, hey,
Right.
all the power to you.
I was saying, say the board wasn't paired there.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going.
Then it's a check call, probably, yeah.
Or just a call
call.
here on the river.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously the board is paired. So
But at
it's
this
full house
point,
plays.
you hope the guy's got a 10. You hope the guy's got spades.
It's about a $4,100 pot, $2,000 a call.
But what does Mark have left?
Looks like he only has 1,000 left. I mean, you're not risking anything more.
Mark's got, okay, let's see. He's got, actually got more than that. He's got 1,000 there plus another 1,000 in whites. He's got 2,000 left.
Yeah.
So by moving in for $4,000, actually, I want to say, yeah, $4,000, the pot will then be 8,100, 2,000 to call. I don't know if Mark can get away from it. I mean, he should get away from it.
No, he's going to, I mean, a hand like weak as this, but if he had a 10, something like that.
If he's got a 10 or a flush, he's not
Or a
going
flush,
anywhere.
right, 10 or a flush. And I think you're 100% right. I think He doesn't have that much left, according to pot size. I think it's a good value all-in move here.
Oh, definitely. I'm not. What am I going to do? I'm going to actually. I don't think I can raise it less. The guy's made it 2,000 to go.
Right.
I have to make it at least 4,000. That's going to put the guy all in anyway.
And I'm surprised Avo's taking this long with this.
Well, I think Avo likes to take a long time. This is part of his game. He likes to take a long time, even when he knows, because he doesn't want to later on, when he needs a long time to make a decision, he doesn't want to make it look like what he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's just going to call. That is shocking.
Yeah, that really is.
I'm really surprised. And again, you know, the funny thing is that Avo moves in. He's not going to get a call from what we see there. I don't think he's going to get a call with pocket
No,
ace.
I'm really surprised he did not raise that. I got to tell you. Now, we often say, you know, you and I do not believe in slow playing, but if you do it once in a while in the right spot, you get somebody like a Mark here to overcommit because he thinks you're on a play.
Right.
You think you're making a move, and suddenly what should have just been, you know, you bet, take it down, he ended up winning himself about $3,000 in that pot.
You know, it's an interesting river, though, because when he bets $2,000 and Avo calls, it's a $6,000 pot. So if Avo comes back over the top for another $2,000, it's an $8,000 pot, $2,000 a call. If the guy was deeper, I can understand why Avo might just call. There's a chance he might have 10-7. You don't want to open it up to another re-raise. But at that point, there's just so many hands that the guy might be forced to call with because of the pot. I'm really shocked that he didn't move all in.
Of course, if he's got Jack 10, he's going to call you.
Yeah.
He's got spades. He almost has to call you because he's getting 3-1 on his money.
4-1.
Right.
$2,000 for an
right.
$8,000 pot.
4-1 on a day.
Yeah.
Two players.
Jay is going to raise it up here with 6-4 of diamonds, and he's flop bottom 2 pair. He's heads up against Avo. We can't see what Avo has right
Now,
now.
that's not a hand. That's not a hand that Jay's going to slow play. You'll see him bet this for sure,
7-6-4 here.
and he'll take this down right here.
Well, we don't know what Avo has. It's a $250 bet here.
Oh. Oh,
Avo's
that makes
got
more sense.
5-6.
He's got obviously he's got second pair and an open-ended straight draw. Now he doesn't have to worry about clubs because Jay's got diamonds. Now Avo is still stacking his chips and he's playing this hand, usually a sign of strength.
He's asking Jay how much he has left.
Yeah, Jay's only got about 1,500
Yeah,
left.
and if Avo raises here, Jay is definitely going to call. There's no
And
doubt
Avo's
about
not in
that.
bad shape. He's really not in bad shape.
I think it was an all-in and a call.
Yep, there
Avo
you
moved
go.
all in, and Jay called. Wow, the turns of 5. Avo
pair.
now makes 2 higher pair.
Yep.
And he's going to win it with 6s and 5s. That was one of the outs there. Wow. But
Avo
again,
had, it looks like a bad beat. Avo
Yeah.
had a lot of outs there. It was Jay was about a 3-2 favorite there. Avo obviously could have caught an 8, a 3, or a 5 to win that. Actually, a 7 would have chopped it up also. And Avo was on fire here. That was another $4,000 pot.
yeah.
Jay had started the pot with about 1,900, plus the dead money in there. We're looking at about another 4,000 there. And in the span of 3 minutes, Avo has made himself about $6,000. Nice post here from Baron Vangertut. He says, "Hey, Tuck, regarding Under the Gun, my blog," he says, "last installment was depressing. This installment is inspirational. Perhaps I will run up and down the stairs when I'm in Philly this weekend, Rocky style." Hey, do it for me. Do it for us. Do it for everybody who's alive at the bike fan, okay? Actually, you know what I'd love, Baron? If you do that, take a picture of yourself up there. That would be fabulous. We could like superimpose and maybe put a Live at the Bike t-shirt on you. Now, Mark is open-ended here, but nobody bet the flop. And there's only, I want to say there's actually 4 people in the pot here. And they're going to check it, and the river's an 8, and still nobody's putting any money in the pot. And I believe 4-5 is going to win this. Kirk made a pair on the turn, and nobody bet him off it. I can't believe Mark never bet that.
They didn't want to fold, but they had to.
And they let Kirk get there, and Kirk takes himself a little pot there.
Now we know in the basket he play 4-5. And the big blind he play ace.
You're embarrassing me right now,
Plays whatever he gets. Give him a break.
Interesting email from Bernie McIntyre. We'll get to it in a second. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 20 and 40. Now, this is an unrestricted buy-in game. The minimum buy-in is $3,000. and we probably have well over 50 on the table right now. This is limped around. Paul's going to tap the table, and we're going to see a flop. And we're going to see this 5 ways. So it's a $200 pot to the flop. Ace 5-5, rainbow. And nobody has an ace, nobody has a 5. Best hand is actually Raid, who's got 8. And it's going to check around. And the turn is a 5 as well. And now Raid, Hav, and Mark all have a full house. Obviously, Raid with the best hand, and he's going to bet $100. And Hav is just going to call it. And that'll probably get...
This call is good.
That'll get Kirk out. Kirk's going to fold, obviously nothing there. That'll probably get Mark out with a pair of deuces. You can call one person. You can't overcall that, though. And we're going to see this heads up. And he checks blind. And the river is an ace. And this is going to get chopped up. Both players have 5s full of aces.
That's right. Trip 5's on board. Of course, the 8s and the 6s don't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And they chop up the pot. Once again, it's your best 5
How
cards.
lucky you can be with me.
Email here from Bernie Mackinton. Yeah, you haven't gotten to this.
Yeah, no, I just mentioned that we got it. I didn't get to it, though.
He's talking about, how often should you call raises with small to medium pocket pairs, no limit, and should you always try and limp in with a small to medium pocket pair in position and try to flop a set?
I know the answers depend on stack sizes, types of players, etc., but is there a general rule you stick to for these hands? And Bart and I, the general rule is, to me, it's really a checklist. There's certain things I look for. I like to be in position, obviously. Jay's actually made it 150 with a big $5,000 chip.
Yeah, look at that. Right at 150 with $5,000 chip there. I know if we can get a shot of that up there in suit 5. Ace 10 offsuit.
But I guess there's no general rule. I like to look for a checklist. Like I said, I like to look for, I want to be in position. I want to be in there against a player who either A, I can take the pot away from, I think, or B, a player who might pay me off. And I want to be looking to get, say, 10 to 12 times
the amount of the raise size.
The amount of the raise size.
Yeah.
I like to obviously be in there against predictable players.
Right.
Yeah.
But you definitely, especially if you pick up on somebody that likes to make smallish raises with big pocket pairs. Oh, that is just golden. I see it so often, even at the high levels, Dave. Guy will make it 35 to go in the cutoff as an open raise with aces or kings.
Or, I mean, if you look at, let's say Kirk. Let's say you were to limp in late position with pocket 5s.
Right.
And Kirk were to raise it out of the big blinds, okay? More often than not, Kirk raising out of the big blind suggests a big pocket pair. And if I'm deep enough and Kirk is deep enough, I will probably call that because I've seen that Kirk has problems getting away from those big overpairs.
Jack 6 here on the flop. And is Jay gone in seat 5? Wow. Guess the table wasn't to his liking. Gets checked around here to Mark. He's going to bet out on the 6.
Yeah, I think apparently Jay is one of those guys where he likes a table that he can really manage.
Yeah.
And I think he quickly recognized when he looked at this table and he said, you know what, there's Paul to my right, there's Avo to my left, there's Mo behind him. This table is probably not a table that I can run over. These guys know how to play against an aggressive player.
New player coming in the game, it's Joe. This guy played in the 3-5 game on Tuesday. Seat 5.
You will find that I told you the truth.
I think Monday.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't recognize him.
Monday.
And he's bought in for the minimum. He's buying in for $2,000, kind of taking a shot.
I don't necessarily know if this is the type of table I might take a shot at. There isn't a whole lot of weakness.
No, I mean, if you look at this table, and like we always say, we try to rank the tables. I don't think this is a great game.
And look at this. Paul's raising with Jack 3. He's really adjusting his game. Some dead money in there. You've got one limper in seat number 1.
I mean, we've seen Mark in seat number 1 make a pretty big mistake. We've seen seat 4 make a couple of questionable plays.
Well, Mark is he's gonna call with ace 6 of diamonds. And the flop comes 8-6 deuce here. Well, he's out-flopped Paul. Or he was in the lead pre-flop, and Paul's gonna make the continuation bet. And how is Mark gonna play this? Paul's gonna bet 440 and a quick call here by Mark.
Oftentimes, quick call means a draw, but in this case, he actually has a pair of 6s.
Turns a queen. Now, if you're Paul here, You know, Mark, he's asking Mark how much you have. Do you use this as a scare card? Maybe if the guy called with the 6?
The only problem is if the guy called you with
Mark
a
is
stage.
Mark's actually moved all in on the turn.
Oh, okay.
And Paul for it. And Paul.
I was going to say, I mean, if the guy called you the spade draw, though, you almost need to save some ammunition for the river.
Right.
Very well.
So to answer Baron Vanger Toll's question, he says, Bart, not that many women play poker at Foxwoods regularly. I know them all. Which one of those is related to you? It's actually my Aunt Susan Mosser. She's a heavy-set woman, and she plays 20-40 limit hold'em. That's her game. And she's a nurse in Boston.
Is she nice?
She is. She's almost like an Angie, the food server here. Like very, very nice but abrasive, and she will definitely speak her mind. Very powerful woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah.
Like to call it. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if some donkey sucks out on her, will she call him on it?
I don't know. I've actually never played with her, but I don't think so. I think we've had actually a discussion about tilting before.
Can we fly her out here? Do a little, nephew versus the aunts heads-up match?
I don't think she likes no limit, though. 5-way action here, limped around. Set of 5s here for Avo. And it's Rainbow again, but now he's up front, and he's going to come out and bet here from up front.
5s have worked for him. And I don't mind. This is one of those bets where some people go, well, why isn't he slow playing the same Rainbow board? Well, it's a limped around pot, and the board is 9-5-3. You really can't expect anybody to bet this.
Yep.
And he shows Hav his 5s. 5s have been done well for him. You don't want to slow play that. Let's say a 7 or 6 comes off. Some guy hits his gut shot, and you end up losing a huge pot because of it.
Look at this. Email here from Alan Daniels that says, hi, David and Bart. What a boring game without Mike, Barry, and That's Alan. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Signed, That's Alan. And I think that is Alan.
No, that's definitely, that is Alan.
Yeah, yeah.
That's his name. Where is Alan?
140.
Avo's going to raise it up here to 140 with Jack 10.
Got an email here from Riley G. Matthews Jr. Says, Bart, put down the water pipe. Full houses beat a flush.
Marcus called here with ace-9 of diamonds. Jack 6 deuce here with a couple hearts.
200.
And Avo's going to bet 200 here, and he's going to take it down.
And Avo, obviously our big winner tonight. Kind of proof there that you don't have to play that many hands in no limit hold'em to win a lot of money.
Hey, you still have an hour and a half left to submit your hands for tomorrow's video blog. Email us and put in the subject, hand for blog. I already have one hand. I'm looking for another one. And we will hopefully get to 2 submitted hands tomorrow for our next edition of the video blog. Live straddle here by Paul. Seat number 4 is going to call with pocket deuces from up front.
Now, from what you saw on Monday, what is Joe's game like? Is he pretty tight? Is he?
Well, I thought that, he played somewhat of a tight game in the 5-10 game when I played with him that afternoon, but then when he came to the 3-5 game, he was playing any 2 cards.
Yeah, you wonder if he's one of those guys that if he's playing it kind of below his comfort level, he plays too many hands. If he plays it above his comfort level, well, he doesn't play enough hands.
Paul's got 6 deuce here. He flops second pair, and he's going to come out and bet into this board.
And obviously it's
wow, Paul and Raid instantly calls him.
And Raid's in terrible shape here. I mean, there's only one card in the whole deck that can help him now.
Turns a 3, but do you think that Raid might have called with an open-ended straight draw? But Paul's going to come out and bet again here.
Well, let's see if Raid represents that.
340.
Paul bets again, and he quickly calls again.
Yeah, and Raid, obviously, in my humble opinion, I think Raid's probably one of the weaker links in this game.
Well, Raid needs he basically needs a 5 or a deuce. Actually, a 5 would chop it up. The river's an 8 now.
Yeah.
And how is Paul going to play this river?
Well, I mean, if you couldn't beat a 5 before...
Wow, look at this. Now Paul is checked in. Raid's moved all in here. So I think that Raid knows he's representing the 5 there, Dave.
Yeah, but he's put himself in a spot. I don't buy that, though. Okay, if we just hold on his chip stack for 1 second. He had $1,000 left. He's check called, right? Now, in the river, if Paul were to bet $500, what, are you going to move all in there and Paul's going to lay it down for $500 more? You know what I mean? I think you've got to make that move on the turn. I just don't buy it on the river. Yeah, I mean, he basically got the pot because Paul gave up on it. Paul looked at it and said, I can't beat anything, so I'm just going to give up and fold.
Well, he was in position, remember, too.
Right, but I just don't think if he had $2,000 or $3,000 left, yes, you could wait till the river to raise it. But I think at that point, you've got to realize if you want to bluff somebody, you've got to save some ammunition. And he just kept calling into the river. I don't think he's got enough money to bluff him. I mean, in a way, he's lucky Paul actually checked and folded, kind of giving it up.
Limped around here, and Mo is posted from behind. He checked the post, and he's got trip jacks. And is Mo going to bet out here? He is. Jack 10, Jack here with 2 diamonds. He bets 150.
Not something Mo normally does.
Right.
But that board is pretty connected. I think you need to bet that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hammer Raid there, but I really wonder is, and I asked
Well,
you.
it was a pot-sized bet on the river.
No, it was fine, but what happens if Paul... Okay, did Raid win that pot, or did Paul give it up?
Right, you say if Paul bet a little bit, right, he might just fold there.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, right? I mean, Paul bet the flop, he bet the turn. Now, let's say Paul bets 500 or 600 on the river. Is the guy going to move in
Well,
there?
I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of equity there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my question there. You know, sometimes a good play, you can't judge a play by the result. We saw earlier Mark made a play on Raid, and it worked with the Queen Jack, obviously, because the guy had 6s.
Yeah.
It only worked, he got lucky. Or maybe it was a great read, who knows?
Raid's got pocket aces here.
Yeah, he
I
raised
think
it
they
up.
just- yeah.
Actually, they chopped it up, I think, didn't they?
Second time I had it.
They did because it was a collection pot, so they decided to chop it up.
I don't even have a chance to raise that.
Collection pot, by the way, these guys in this game, they pay $11 each every half hour. So it's $99 that's paid, but it's only paid by the person who wins the collection pot. So whoever wins this pot, and it has to be at least $500, has to pay $99 to the casino.
And Mo's got pocket queens, and he's going to bring it in here for 180.
And is this a hand Joe is going to get involved with? I was curious.
Well, he's in the big blind. He's got ace-10 of clubs.
Not a hand I'd probably call heads up against Mo, is it?
Now, Paul is going to call with king-queen suited, and that might bring Joe in here.
I mean, would you? I don't call this, do you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Especially with Mo raising from up
And
front.
now Paul is called.
And Paul's called. I'm thinking I could be dominated both ways, but I probably got 3 outs.
I mean, this is almost like an ace-rag suited where you have to be deep enough to hit your hand, and Joe's just not deep. He's at the minimum.
Exactly. Now, this is exactly.
Oh, here's the ace.
Now, he's outflopped him, but
Yeah.
he has no idea where he's at.
And now Mo bets 400, and if Joe wants to commit, he has to commit his whole stack. And against Mo, do you want to commit here? He doesn't have the best hand, but this is exactly what we point out.
Well, it's often why.
And
this
Joe
is-
check calls.
Now, Joe's probably going to win this pot. And we look at it, but you can't judge a play by the results.
Check,
Because
check.
Mo could just as easily have ace-queen here.
The river's a jack. Yeah.
And we always say, a hand like ace-10 there, you're either going to win the minimum or lose the maximum.
Right.
And I just think calling a raise from there, and then when Paul calls it also, I think that's really negative EV.
Because then again, I mean, Joe has check called the flop, but he's just playing basically a dry ace, no other strength with ace-10, and that's not really what you want to hit with ace-10.
No, it's not. Especially, and in a collection pot as well, so $100 is taken out of it.
Yeah.
You wonder if Mo bets 1,000 on the turn,
Right.
what is Joe going to do? Is he going to keep calling? I mean, is he going to call up the whole $2,000 with a hand as weak as ace-10?
99.
Button moves over here to seat number 4.
It's losing the jack.
We get a lot of emails about that first video blog.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that people are emailing, obviously, either asking you questions or disagreeing with the way you play the hand. And that's part of the reason for the video blog is to kind of start up conversation about it so they can debate and obviously all improve as poker players.
Paul raised it up to 140 in the cutoff with 8-9, and Hob call with queen-10 of diamonds. Well, Hobbs hit top pair. Paul's got a straight draw.
You wonder if Hav is on to Paul a little bit. Paul's really been getting a little bit out of line today.
And Hob is going to come out and bet.
Although I don't think Paul has shown down much of his
No, he
coverage.
hasn't. He hasn't. I mean, no one would know. Hob shows the queen there.
But he's been raising it. He's been raising a lot.
Then you can give him jack or you get the jack.
Button moves here to seat 5, Joe. And again, you know, it's a question Niels van der Linder emailed us and says, Bart, about the video blog, you keep saying that if you bet the turn, you'll have to call a check raise, but that's not a finished argument, especially considering stack sizes. You need to figure out if you're ahead or not. And if you decide you are, you cannot let another heart or a gut shot complete. complete or come off, or one of those cards enabling your opponent to bluff you. Again, though, I just think that if I put any money in on the turn, remember, the pot is $1,200. I have 900 left. What can I bet there? 300? If I bet 300 and he moves all in, I have to call going for my full house with one card to come.
Right. Your pot committing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in the end of it all, you did make a decision. You thought you were beat.
Right.
You really did. You thought you were beat. You said, okay, I'll take the free draw
Right.
at my full house and fold if I don't hit a full house,
Right.
which is exactly how you played it.
I mean,
Obviously,
how
it was
do
just
you
the wrong
bet a
read.
turn in position with the... How can you possibly bet a turn if you think you're bet with a set in position when it's a $1,200 pot and you have 900 left? Right? I mean, it's just...
Right. Well, I mean, it's just one of those times where, obviously, Paul has flopped a trip aces here. Avo's got really nothing. I mean, this is going to go bet fold.
Paul raised it up with ace-10, and he's going to bet.
Avo rarely gets out of line in this game. Every once in a while, he'll make a move with a big draw,
Right.
like he did with 6-5 there earlier on. He'll especially do it when somebody is short-stacked because he feels like it's not a big risk.
Well, is Avo going to continue here?
Now, in this case here, Paul's got a lot of money. I'd be really surprised if Avo made a move. But this is one of the reasons why Avo takes a long time when he hits a set also.
Right.
He likes to take a long time here because he doesn't want people to say, well, wait, when you have trips or a set, you act really quickly, but when you have a flush draw, you take a long time.
Exactly. Kind of trying to deceive.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I mean, but in the end of it all, you basically had made the decision that you were beat. You thought the 6 of hearts on the turn. If you're not familiar with what we're talking about, go to liveatthebike.com, check out the video blog on the left-hand side. You thought the 6 of hearts had you beat.
Right.
And you said, okay, I'll take the free card.
So 1,
You know, in that case,
180.
you were wrong, but you probably play it the same way 9 out of 10 times, or 8 out of 10 times maybe.
$180 raise here with ace-jack of diamonds. And remember, the hand was just played out so peculiarly. You know, with the bottom set there, I can't believe he didn't come back over the top of me. And like more and more we talk about it, I just don't buy what Asian Mike gives for an explanation saying, oh, I thought I was beat on the flop, but I'm calling to hit my one outer or to bluff you off of a set with these stack sizes.
No, I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
I like I said, I still think if you were to look at that video blog, I actually still think the button has moved over to seat 7. That's Avo. Mark is under the gun, and he's not going to play it. I still think that he actually puts you on ace-queen. Or
aces
pocket
or kings.
aces or
Right.
pocket kings, and he was betting on the river for value. I really do. I don't think he puts you on the... There's only 2 hands in the entire deck that he might get you to lay down that actually beat him. I don't think he puts you on one of those 2 hands.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Gets limped around to Avo. He's going to make it 160 to go from the button.
And Avo always kind of does that. His raises aren't that big. Now, you think about it, with 2 limpers already in there, you can easily make this 200 or 220 to go. He only makes it 160, almost inviting players to play in there. He's not scared of seeing flops.
And Mo is called.
Kind of a Phil Hellmuth-esque type of play in the sense that he wants the players in there. He thinks he can outplay players post-flop.
King 3-7. Look at this. Mo's going to lead right into it. And is Avo going to continue on? There's 1 overcard. He's out of there.
And that's a nice play by Mo. Oftentimes with a hand like pocket 4s, you kind of do that stop and go.
Yeah.
Where you just call the player, and you're betting no matter what. You're kind of hoping that your opponent has missed.
I think the thing with Hellmuth, though, sometimes is that it's not necessarily that he wants players in there, but he won't commit all his chips in a tournament with pocket kings because he always thinks, I want to see the flop and make sure an ace doesn't come out because I don't want to be busted by ace-6.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people might say, I want to get my money in as a 2-to-1 favorite, but I think he looks at it like, I'm such a better tournament player than some of these guys. I actually don't want my money in with the chance of losing my whole stack with only a 2-to-1 favorite.
Pocket jacks for Joe now in seat number 5. And it's folded around to him, and he's going to make it 130, I believe. No, he limped in. I'm sorry. I just assumed it was a raise. I cannot believe, wow. I mean, 2 off the button, he did not raise it.
Well, King 8-8 here. Jacks are still good.
But he's going to just check it. He's going to keep this pot small.
Mo checks right behind him, turns a queen, and Mo has now got the best hand.
Yeah. And now is Joe going to bet? No, he's going to just give it up here. And Mo's going to take it.
And again, the problem here is that Mo could easily be betting on a bluff here, but you just played the hand so passively.
And you quoted that.
And Mo does not have Queen 10. He has Jack 10. The turn was a queen. Queen of clubs. So Joe is laying down the best hand.
Good job there, Ronnie.
Yep.
You too can actually play with Ronnie McMillan if you want to just fork in some tournament money.
Why does that have to be a queen?
I think Ronnie was having trouble with the turn card because it's used in most hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The vote moves over here to seat 9. Ace jack offsuit here for Kirk. Pocket aces for Abo in seat 7. Now is Kirk just going to easily fold this hand on the button, ace jack offsuit to Abo's raise? I mean, I would think so.
Don't do that.
He's going to raise to 200.
Try to save it as much as I can.
Kirk's got ace jack offsuit.
Now he's raised it a little bit more. He's made it $40 more than the previous raise with pocket eights, but still his raise is pretty consistent. It's only $40 more.
This time I gotta give you some action.
And Raid's going to give him some action with a hand. Well, I guess if you're going to call 2 red aces with anything, 6-5 of spades is a pretty good hand to call him.
And C5 limped it with 5 deuce offsuit. That's not good short stack play.
That's not good any stack play. 5 deuce offsuit out of position.
Well, Raid is called, he's heads up with a suited connector. He's checked blind, and there's a set of aces here for Abo.
Wow, I mean, Avo just hits set after set after set.
Now, I think that you bet here because your opponent is expecting you to bet on the ace. You maybe try to make a move on you.
Yeah, I mean, there are two Broadway cards out there just in case your opponent called you and say King 10, Queen 10. Or maybe an ace. I mean, you never know. It could be the case ace out there. No, I mean, I suppose if you are against a player like Corporation Mike or, say, Jay Katsutani, you could check it once and let him bluff at you, inducing a bluff. But against a player like seat number 4, you probably just want to bet it. He is a check raiser. We've seen that all night.
I hear what you saw there, man. I hear what you saw there.
Kirk is going to limp in here with pocket 3s in the cutoff.
I like that.
And we're going to see 4-way action here. It's a $160 pot. Pocket 7s here for Paul in seat 3.
Yeah, not a good flop for pocket 7s. But it is a good flop for Mark. He's got top 2.
And Mark is on the button. Kirk, but look at this. Kirk's flopped a set. Kirk's got a set of 3s up against top 2, and all the money could go in here, folks. This is sometimes the overhead that when happens when you got no limit. Top 2 against bottom set. We got a raise here by top 2 by Mark, and let's see how Kirk's going to play it. 300 more, and Kirk is just going to call.
Sometimes it can be tough to slow play out of position.
Turns a 7. You always work.
Paul would have hit his set on the turn.
And look at this. Kirk is going to check. Mark is going to bet, and Kirk check raises all in. And Mark is going to instantly call here. He shows Queen 10, and Kirk's going to need to dodge a Queen or a 10. Oh, there's a 10! Oh, Kirk gets rivered. Higher full house there by Mark. Wow.
Oh, that is painful. That is absolutely painful. Wow.
These guys slow played the flop, I'd have been all in with.
And that's what Paul says. Paul says if you slow played the flop, I'd be all in with you.
Well, Paul's not going to, I mean, Kirk bets the flop, and say even Mark calls. Paul's not going to overcall with pocket 7s.
No, but just let's say
They got checked around or something.
They all decide to play it tricky, and the 7 comes. Well, then Mark's making a bunch of money there on the
And you know, this is one of the reasons why, if you're a professional poker player, you might actually run that board 2 or 3 times with a set of 3s.
Well, if you want to decrease variance. I mean, obviously, the odds don't change.
Right.
But that's part of the reason why you need a bankroll, too, if you're a professional poker player. Because that kind of crap happens.
Yep.
That happens. That's poker. Nice hand. Well done. What are you going to do? Suck it up. Move on. You know, be happy you didn't have it covered.
And, I mean, that pot was probably $4,000 or $5,000 there. Wow. I mean, the only thing about slow playing there, like you said, out of position is, do you ever, I mean, can an action killer come in terms of an ace or a 9 and the guy getting scared by King Jack? But it also, if an ace comes, now the guy doesn't have top 2. Now he can also lose to aces up. I mean, I'm just throwing that out at you.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, an ace, I think, is a premier action killer there.
In a weird way, Kirk actually got lucky because some blank 7 came off.
Yeah.
But in the end, he actually got unlucky because he got rivered.
Yeah.
Hard to say you got lucky when you lose a $5,000 pot, but at the same time, he did.
Button moves over here to Paul in seat 3.
I had an interesting hand last night while I was playing in the shootout. I flopped bottom set. The flop came out ace 10-8. Okay? Not only could I not continue in the pot after the river, I couldn't even call a bet on the river. The turn was an ace, the river's a 10. So the board is ace, ace, 10, 10, 8. And I have eights fold.
Three-way action here. Limped around. Ace 9. Ace 9 8 here.
Yeah, Avo's got
He's got top pair now. Joe has got 6-7. Now I'm a little surprised in a limped pot. I might lead out with 6-7 there against Avo
definitely
and Raid. I mean,
only one player behind me now. Raid's
Yeah.
already checked. I'm probably going to lead out, I'd say, probably 7 or 8 out of 10 times.
Big time semi bluff out there with an ace on board.
Definitely.
And I got to say, you know, if I'm playing against Avo, I think Avo might just fold. You never know. I mean, he might call once.
Definitely. He might call, he might not at all. And he's just going to lay it down. He's not even getting involved. Real passive way to play 6-7. Now, he wasn't a big blind. But you wonder if he's going to play hands like that, like 6-7 that way. Why would he be limping in with a hand like 5-2 offsuit?
Oh, that is a little strange. And Kirk is out of here. Kirk is out of here. And again, he lost a pretty big pot to Avo earlier. And that is one that I'm going to go over on the video blog.
So
tomorrow.
Kirk is probably down close to 6,000 or 7,000 tonight.
I think he lost about 1,500 or 2,000 before the,
So Avo was a big winner. I mean, before the show and then
Yeah,
obviously
he won a lot in the 5-10 game, Dave.
Avo's a pretty solid player. He really is. One thing about Avo's game is he is disciplined enough and patient enough to sit there all day and wait for the cards. He's in no rush whatsoever. I actually compare his game favorably to Hobbs. Similar type players where they know how to push it. They can push with big draws. They know how to play aggressive, but at the same time they're patient, they're disciplined.
I mean, how would you compare Avo's games to, say, like a Jonas? Do you think Avo's as good as a Jonas is, but without those leaks that Jonas sometimes has?
He's completely different than Jonas,
Right,
really. I mean,
right.
you don't really see Avo. I mean, Avo knows how to change it up. I remember I played in a game with him. We played 25-50 together once. And
Right.
I was in the game with him, and he mixed up his game because we were playing six-handed
Right.
all night.
Paul's going to bring this one in for a raise with King Queen suited.
But I would say Jonas probably plays three times as many hands as
Well,
Avo.
I mean, Avo is tight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different. It's really hard. It's almost like apple and oranges.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Avo's tight, and I mean, Jonas is a lag. I mean, he
Yeah, he
might
is.
not be as laggy as some of the guys we've seen on the show, but he is a lag. Yeah,
Jonas is going to mix it up. He's not
Right.
going to just sit there and wait for the cards.
right.
You know, he's going to make big raises. He's going to be pushing. Jonas is looking to play big pots with not necessarily the nuts, while Avo really wants the nuts to play big pot. I'd actually compare Avo's game to like Kenny Wynn's game, in the sense that he's really tight, but he knows how to mix it up a little bit.
Three-way action here. It was limped around. Raid's got the overpair. Now, Mo is just going to lead out here with ace-6. He's got a gut shot to the 5. Let's see what Raid is going to do. He is going to call. Turn is an 8, and Raid hits his set. Third hard on board. And now it's a $200 bet here by Raid. And Mo is gone.
I'll show you one.
And Mark is actually going to take his money and go.
Lucky on the turn.
I guess Mark figured he got his money in with the worst of it a couple of times, got lucky there to take some money off the table. And he's going to take his break. And apparently this game, we might have trouble with this game. We might have to change this game because that's going to force Aaron to leave.
Really?
And that might make Joe leave. And as the players start to vanish from this game, they might change it to a 10-20. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, that happens in cash games all the time. Most of the poker you watch on TV is tournaments. And you're watching a tournament, obviously, once you put your buy-in in, you've got to stay there. There's nothing you can do.
I mean, I can't go 1,000 higher.
But in this case here, it's a cash game. People can leave when they want to. They can rebuy when they want to. And our show is pretty much at the whim of our players.
So they're discussing it now.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they'll probably change to 10-20.
1,000 minimum, right? Yeah, go ahead. 3 people.
And I don't know if that will. I mean, will that hopefully get some other players if it is 1,000?
That might get a couple of players here. I mean, players are more apt to move from 5-10. I know we have a couple of 5-10 games. Now, I'm surprised this game isn't filling up because we've got a pretty big tournament going on right now. We got the, we've got our Poker Classic going on right now, and tonight's tournament was a $300 no-limit tournament with one optional rebuy. So basically, it was a $600 tournament tonight. I would be shocked if this game didn't fill up really quick.
Two big blinds here. Now, Mo's got ace-jack, and he's going to raise. Well, some people have asked for us to kind of do a short-handed game as well.
I love short-handed poker. I think it's a great way to play poker. Some of my most memorable poker experiences are playing, like I would go out there and play six-handed, like in a game like this. By, say, 2 hours later, it's four-handed. 2 hours after that, it's three-handed.
Right.
And then I'll play a heads-up for a couple hours even.
Right.
I really enjoy that. I think it's great practice for you. And if you think you're a good player, if you think you're better than your other two opponents, think about the edge you have when you're just playing it two or three-handed or four-handed. Your edge is almost magnified.
Yep. There are a lot of people that, kind of some of the players that play on this table that just are away this week,
Yeah, well, like I said, Corporation Mike is in Vegas playing at the World Poker Tour. A lot of the big players are in Vegas right now, kind of in the pre-World Series mode.
Paul's going to raise it up here. I think we've changed the blinds now to 10-20.
Yeah.
Paul raises with 9-4 offsuit. He makes it 200 to go. Hobbs moving over to seat 3 so he can see he's got cards.
And the raises will go down a little bit, but since the stack sizes are all the same still, you might not see the raise go down that much. Now, I'm not sure if this game is really necessarily a very good game. You'd look at it and go, well, Mo is clearly a good player, Hobbs a good player, Avo's a good player, and Paul's a good player. You might look at a game like this and go, well, is there really any weak player in this game?
Button moves over here to seat 4.
I got an interesting offer yesterday. I wasn't going to bring it up tonight because obviously it's our big game and rarely do we bring up other things. But I got an offer. A gentleman came up to me after I played in the shootout and walked over and he goes, "Hey, David, right?" I go, "Yeah." He introduced himself. And he said, do you give poker lessons? And I go, "I never have before." I go, I'll teach friends and I'll teach my family members. But I go, "I've never actually given poker lessons." And he goes, "Would you be willing to teach me?"
Well, it's funny. I've actually thought about that before. Now, the thing about poker lessons, though, and if anyone's hiring anybody for poker lessons, now, Mo's got pocket aces here, so I'll get to this in a second.
Pocket aces, and they're playing four-handed right now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he's going to raise it up.
200.
Paul's got Jack-9 of clubs, and he's going to come in.
Well, four-handed, Jack-9 of clubs is not a bad hand in position. How do you put Mo on aces here? I mean,
here we go. About a $450 pot. Well, 7-7 deuce here.
Well, that's a good flop for Mo.
Mo bet blind.
Yeah.
And Paul's going to get away from it. Now, the thing about poker lessons, if anyone ever considers hiring somebody for poker lessons, and maybe you can give me your feeling on this too, is that let's say, Dave, that I'm a professional no-limit player, and I make a pretty nice living at between $100 and $150 an hour. Okay? For me to teach somebody who I don't know is not my friend poker lessons, I'm probably going to have to charge them probably double that to do poker lessons, or at least the same without the risk. Because why would I take the time to teach somebody poker lessons for $75 an hour if I play the game and I beat it at $150?
Right, although if you're teaching it at, say, $75 or $100 an hour, that's risk-free $75 or $100 an hour.
Right, I understand that, but at the same time, I think that,
And there's no variance in lessons.
But again, I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, if I'm comfortable with that as an hourly.
Of course, well, you've got to be aware, obviously, if anybody's out there advertising, I teach poker, you got to wonder, why are you teaching?
Right.
I mean, it's almost like, I remember when I was acting, you kind of wondered and going, why are you teaching acting?
Right.
Tom Cruise isn't teaching acting.
Right.
Kevin Spacey's not teaching acting.
That's why I kind of scratch my head a little. I mean, it makes sense to me if someone offered me a couple $100 an hour to teach them poker. Well, then I would do it. But I mean, I would never charge somebody $70 an hour to do. It's just not worth it.
I've never been, like I said, I never really thought about teaching.
Yeah.
One of the reasons being is because I do make a pretty good living playing poker.
Right.
He has a headphone. He doesn't
when the
know that.
gentleman approached me last night and gave me his card, I said, "Give me a couple days, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you."
Yeah, you didn't. No one was throwing out any type of amount or anything.
No, he just said, "Would you be willing to teach me how to play? Would you be willing to teach me poker lessons?" First thing I said was, "What's your name?" When you introduced it. Then he said, "I said, what game do you play?" He goes, I play the 500 game, the 510 game.
Really?
I go, "Oh, okay."
We had a raise here, I believe, by was it by Hav or by Raid?
It was by Hav.
Hav was 6'8" suited.
Well, I mean, four-handed, you're really not playing your cards. You're playing positioning. You're playing the players.
Check, check, turns a deuce.
And now Raid's going to put some money in the pot. And he's going to be good.
He bets 120.
And I got to say, I love four-handed games. I really do. I don't like this game, though.
No.
Mo, Hav, Paul, I'm not. That's not a game I'm going to jump into.
Got about an hour left in the show.
I mean, I will say normally if we're sitting here in the booth and the game goes on the four-handed, I'll have no problem taking my mic off and going out there and playing and filling up the game. But this is not a game that I don't think it's really juicy. And I got to say, it's a nice. This is really. I actually enjoy short-handed play. I think it's a great. Obviously we play different levels of poker. We'll play small games, we'll play big games, but rarely do we play short-handed. And I think this is a great way to look at it. And somebody is signing up to jump in the game.
This is going to be a 10-20 game. So.
And then he moved on.
He called 900 and raised.
He put me all in.
And they're not going to chop this up. It's four-handed.
Shop, right?
Well, this is now a raked game, and they are going to chop it up.
What?
That's really surprising.
I
I
know
mean,
I
four-handed?
had it, but
Wow.
for some
Well, there are a
reason,
couple players out of the
I don't
game, and you
wanna
wonder.
waste my shit.
Anyway, so I'm wondering,
I'm just lucky.
I wanted to ask our viewers and ask you that.
I swear to God.
I have no idea. What do poker teachers get?
He does. I put him.
You re-raised 15.
Would I want to do it?
You had 17.
And, is it worth my time at the same time? Should I? I don't even know.
He had-
New game, right?
I've never been approached.
Again, as a personal opinion, I think that I would probably do it if I was paid at least.
I said I'm still ahead.
150 an hour?
I'll take my chance.
No, I think more than that. I think maybe, say, time and a half of what I think I make now in 5-10, or maybe even double.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking like $300 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that is what it's worth.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean,
You
if
know.
you think about it, the gentleman who approached me wants to play in a 5-10 game.
Right.
And you think about it, if my poker lessons aren't worth anything, you'd think that he'll probably make the lesson back in one session.
Right.
He'd probably make 3 lessons back in one session. And obviously the long-term effects of that could be huge.
So Paul just said, I am playing, I'm not chopping.
No, I mean, how are you going to chop? Well, we never chop, so it doesn't make a difference. But I'm certainly not going to chop 5-handed.
So we got a new player coming in here to seat number
9.
That's Rob.
I know 100% I'm ahead in this hand.
And it looks like another player is he moving around, maybe to go to seat 1.
I can see he doesn't have anything.
Limped here, Queen 9 against Ace 4, Jack 10-6.
But yeah, I could. Yeah.
Raid's going to bet there with an open
He
and
has
straight
two
draw, and
open
he's
there.
going to take it down.
He might catch runner.
Now, short-handed, you really got to be playing it that way. You can't wait from 8 hands short-handed. You'll just get eaten up.
We got an email here by Jake Cam. He talks about Ace Queen in a limit hold'em situation. I have a question about Ace Queen. Early position. I used to raise Ace Queen from early position, but my problem was that someone with Ace King would just call, and I'll flop my ace and ending up losing the pot when my opponent has me out kicked. It just didn't seem like my Ace Queen would take down too many pots when an ace fell. So now I'm folding Ace Queen in an early position. Is this the right play, or should I go back to my old ways of raising it up from early position? Or should I even go so far as, say, limping in early position with Ace Queen? You know, Ace Queen offsuit, I would rather fold and limp.
Yeah,
than limit from
I'm
up.
raising or I'm folding.
Well, big flop here
not.
for Hob. 3-5 of spades. Ace 5 deuce.
That's a huge flop for Hob. He's got
And
a
he
gut
checked
shot.
it. He checked it, and Paul bet with 8-9. And Hob is,
Check raise.
yeah, he's made a little check raise here.
Well, he's got second pair. He's got a gut shot straight flush draw.
Yeah.
Obviously, any 4 would give him a straight. Any spade would give it to him.
Yeah.
And in that case, the 5 was actually the best hand.
Ace is good.
Yeah, I think Ace Queen.
Parent and a spade.
More often than not, I'm probably going to be raising with Ace Queen. Obviously, it does depend on the players you're playing in, how tough is the game you're playing in.
Right. Now, oftentimes in limit hold'em, though, if you've got a very solid type player who raises under the gun, and you have ace queen, you might just fold it to the raise.
Oh yeah, I'm not calling a raise with ace queen. Probably not.
New player coming into seat 1. That's Lang.
Yeah, it's Lang.
Lang.
At that time, we don't need it.
That's right.
We got a first timer here.
That's right.
Like I said, a lot of the tournament players are coming out.
Ace queen offsuit here for Paul on the button. It's a pretty big hand, four-handed. He's going to raise it up to 110. Makes it 100 more here. Now, Hava's got 8-9 suited, and he is going to call. So we got two good players here going heads up on a short-handed table. Ace queen against 8-9 suited. The flop comes 7-4-4 here. And it goes check, check. Well, the turn now is a king.
And is Hav going to take a shot at it? Obviously, he knows he needs to bet. Obviously, 9 high is not going to take this down.
And he does bet.
Interesting play by Paul. I mean, not like I'm opposed to checking behind, but you've got to realize that you've induced this bluff. He's put himself in a spot where he's induced this bluff, and I don't know if his hand is strong enough to call a bluff. And he's going to get rid of it.
He's out of there.
Four-handed, you wonder. Ace-queen is especially a paired board like that, 7-4-4. If you had the best hand pre-flop, you probably still have the best hand. You can't necessarily give Hob credit for a big hand, four-handed.
I mean, you heard stories about, say, Ben Affleck getting lessons from Annie Duke and from Amir Vahidi where they were charging him tens of thousands of dollars an hour.
Well, I mean, you've got to realize, if a man is going to play in a game like this game, where you can easily win or lose $4,000 in a session.
Right.
Let's say you give a guy a lesson, and your lesson is going to turn his $500 losses a day into $500 wins every day.
Yeah.
Well, that's worth $1,000. You wonder how much is a lesson worth. I don't know. I mean, I'd love people to email us or start that conversation on the 2+2 forum. Like I said, I'd always be wary of somebody advertising lessons, but in this case, somebody actually asked me and approached me.
Seat 3 is going to raise it here with ace-10 offsuit. He's going to take it down. So now Lang is in seat 6, and now Abo is back. And we're going to get a player in seat 9, so we're going to be back to a full ring game there pretty soon.
Well, I knew once we got this game, once we switched it to 10-20, it would have no problem filling up.
5-6 to heart.
Okay, 600.
No, river 4. So I made my straight. I have 5-6 to heart. I flop a pair
There was 7 there, yeah.
and a flush draw with the heart.
And apparently none of the players wanted to move over because of Avo. They were scared of him, a little intimidated by Avo.
It's funny.
It's funny, he's not an intimidating guy.
I mean, you're intimidated because he has that much money. It's an uncapped game. It doesn't make any difference. I just scratch my
well,
head
the funny
at that,
thing is, you might be more. I'd be more intimidated by a guy like Mike. Not necessarily I would, but I'd understand that other people were intimidated by Mike.
Right.
Because not only does he have $11,000, but he's willing to move it every hand. Avo's not really going to get out of line.
Thanking you for the action. So even do us that way.
Email here by David Gladstone. He says, suppose you play poker for a living. You're successful in the sense that you make enough to make a living, but you aren't exactly rich. In that respect, why would you ever play the collection pot hand? And in a similar sense, in reality, for every player, how does the collection pot affect your starting requirements?
I really think it should. I mean, I think he's right. I mean, I think sometimes your hand is so strong and your position is such that you have to play that hand because you have such positive EV. I don't care if it's a collection pot or not. If I pocket aces pre-flop, I'm going to play it. But you've got to realize that I think if your hand is just a little bit positive EV, or if it's one of those hands where, I don't need to play this one. If it's a collection pot, why would you? I agree.
Well, Hob swapped the big hand here. It was limped around. King 4-3. And Avo was going to come out and bet with deuce 4. Hob he's got like a raising hand with this draw. He's got gut shot, straight flush draw.
Especially on the button, he can raise this.
And he is going to raise it.
And this is the part of Hob's game that I like. He's a tight, he's a solid player, but he has no problem pushing with a big draw.
Got
and he shows. He's going to show Avo.
Got an email here from Cheryl Vale. And is that Vale or Volley?
That is Cheryl. That's
yeah. What's her last name? How do you pronounce it? She's the
Val, I think. Or
Val.
Valley? I don't know.
The lady that made us these nice bluffing shoes
Yeah.
right here.
The birthday girl a couple of, what was it, a week and a half
She
ago?
says, hi guys, when people run the river multiple times, are they still eligible for the bad beat jackpot? Yes, they are. The first time that you run it, that is the time that you run, will win the bad beat jackpot.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, 50 hours of no limit play, 100 and up, from June 1st all the way to August 10th gets you into a $100 tournament where they're giving out 8 main event legend seats.
And the more hours you play,
the more chips
the more
you have,
chips you
capped
get.
at 150 hours.
So between June 1st and August 10th, pretty much, I'm going to make sure I get 150 hours in, for sure. 50 to get in, 150 to get the maximum.
Mo and Paul are in the hand here. I think it's Paul limped in with King 3 of Hearts there. He's going to bet. He bets 110. Now, Mo's got second pair, and he makes the check call. Queen 9-5 rainbow on the flop, 1 club.
Paul really playing out of the box today, huh?
Definitely.
Now, Paul's a professional poker player. He does this for a living, and he does it well.
And he's going to bet again.
And you see him kind of playing it a little bit differently today.
He's going to bet 330.
230 raise.
And he's going to take it down. He gets Mo off of middle pair there.
Kind of cool here. Get a picture of Sir Felix Cat here winning the New Mexico State Poker Championship. I was actually thinking of taking a trip out of New Mexico. I wanted to check out Taos. Kind of a cool little...
Taos?
Taos.
Yeah.
T-A-O-S.
I drove through Albuquerque on the way here.
Did you?
To L.A. 3 years ago. I was in New Mexico then, and then I was in New Mexico. One of my feet were in New Mexico when I was at Four Corners.
Okay. There's also supposedly like a hot air balloon festival, and I think in Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
Well, there's also Roswell, New Mexico, too.
Right, yeah, no interest in that.
Yeah.
But I do have interest in the hot air balloon festival. Well, actually, I should say my wife has a lot of interest in the hot air balloon festival. And we want to go check that out.
There's nothing like the geography of Southwest America. It's really unique in the whole world.
Yeah.
And California is Southwest America, at least the southern part.
Parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, when you drive to Vegas, that central to eastern southern California is
definitely.
just similar to Arizona and New Mexico.
And Paul takes it down. Pre-flop, again. Paul's probably one of the most pots at this table. See how he really adjusts his style of play in this game, but he's down. He has not had a winning night tonight.
Butt moves over here to Mo in seat 8. It's kind of been an odd night because we've played a little bit short, and now we've lowered the game. Now, Raid here in seat 4 has got pocket queens. Joe's got ace-jack. Joe's going to limp in with ace-jack. And Raid's going to raise it up to 120. Abo has got pocket 7s, and he's going to call. And is that going to bring Joe in here? Ace-jack offsuit, raise pot out of position, tough hand to play. No, he's out of there.
It's funny, now that the game is filled up with a couple of other players, and the players that weren't there sat down, seat 1's actually not a bad place to go.
And look at this set of 7s against the overpair.
Uh-oh.
And I think Raid might lose. And look at this, Raid checks. And I think for Abo here, because I'm really surprised there. Remember, the guy check raised before the turn's
Exactly.
3. He checks again.
And Avo is not... It's funny there. You wonder if Avo forgot that Raid likes to check raise because he check raised him earlier.
Now Abo bets 300.
And Raid has played this hand so strangely.
Yeah.
Checking twice with queens. And he's going to check raise this.
Yeah.
And if you're Avo, depending on how much money he has, would you re-raise this?
Now, the problem, though, for Avo, remember, it's an inherent problem that he checked the flop. If an ace or a king comes Raid, he might not get any action, whereas if he bet the flop, all the money could have been in on the flop.
Oh, definitely. Avo's going to bet the flop.
Yeah.
Raid's going to check raise him.
Right.
Now you can call, because you know there's 2 more streets to get the money in. Now Raid's probably going to bet on the turn, and then you can raise him in all in.
And now Abo is just going to smooth call. He is just going to smooth call. Now, he wants to not see a club or an ace. Now, look at that, an ace comes.
Well, why would you put an ace? Why would you put anybody on an ace?
If you think Avo might have the nut flush draw, it's one possibility. And now Raid is going to come out and bet.
Oh, you mean he picked up the flush draw on the turn, and now he's got it? Okay.
Yeah. He's going to bet 300. And now, obviously, Avo's probably going to make a raise here, but now you might not even get Raid to call because he can't beat the ace out
There's also
there.
one less hand you can beat. Remember, you can't beat pocket
Yeah.
jacks. You also cannot beat pocket aces here.
Right. Well, that's maybe what Avo was thinking.
At this point, you might not even be able to raise here because you got to go, well, can pocket kings or pocket queens even call me?
Exactly. And that's why you might just see Avo call. Because if you raise, I would think you're only going to get called here unless Raid puts him on a bluff.
How many sets does this guy hit tonight?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I got to tell you, though, Avo played the hand. He raises here on the river.
He's going to make it 800 more to go.
Yeah.
And you start thinking of a draw that maybe he missed. You go, okay, what did he have on the flop? What did he have on the turn that he missed?
Well, I think Raid's going to call anyways.
Yeah, but I still think that Avo's misplayed this hand.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Absolutely. He's going to call here, and Avo's going to win it with a set.
And you got to look at that hand here by Raid. What the heck can you beat?
Yeah, it's just...
Avo bet it on the turn. You raised him. He called you. Now you bet into on the river, and Avo raised you. What can you beat?
And again, all the time, if I'm playing against Raid, say he is raised, maybe even out of the blind or an early position, I think he's got an overpair enough. I peg him as a check raiser. I am absolutely going to bet a made hand on the flop to get him to check raise. And if I have a draw, I'm not going to semi-bluff him. I'm going to take the card in position.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
100%.
You're going to check behind him with the draw.
I love players that always check raise.
Right.
He's done it already 3 times tonight, and he was going to do it here. And the funny thing is, you look at how much money Raid has. Now, obviously, Avo won himself a pretty big pot. He won himself, I want to say, about a $3,000 pot. But Raid still got about $800 in front of him. And that money really should be Avo's. That $800 should be Avo's.
Yeah, no, I
Not even a question.
Definitely think Avo misplayed the hand there. And again, I got to tell you, I haven't told you that hand, Kirk against Avo, but it is a fun hand tomorrow on the video blog.
Okay. Nice post here from Arvin. He says, my poker lessons are watching live at the bike and paying attention. And obviously, yeah, I mean, if watching this show, whether you listen to us or not, is really a great lesson.
And Alan here again. And again, we're going to be seeing more of Alan, I'm sure, in the 3-5 game because he's actually given his notice, I think he said, as a prop. So
this is a great thing.
Yeah.
Here, Alan says here, hey, David, for your information, if you know Alex Powers, and obviously anybody familiar with the 2004 World Series Poker Final Table.
Limit Hold'em.
Alex Powers is going to start a school-type thing, poker school.
Yeah.
Now, anybody that has to go start a poker school, you wonder why they're starting it. Although you got to give credit. I mean, hey, Phil Hellmuth has a boot camp. He's realizing that he's trying to cash in on his name somewhere else. Annie Duke, Howard Leder, they have a World Poker Tour boot camp that Antonio Esfandari does.
Got a raise here by Mo. Yeah, so maybe you can ask Alex Powers how much he charges for his
that's what he
lessons.
said. So if you want to know what the going rate is, ask Alex. Yeah, okay.
Well, Joe is called here, and that's going to bring Hob in with 3-4. And here we go to the flop. Well, 10-8-7 here. Mo's got top pair and open-end straight draw. Pretty nice flop. Now, Joe's got middle pair and a gut shot to the 9.
Yeah, Mo's got a pretty big hand here. I imagine Mo's going to take this down. I don't think Joe's going to get involved out of position with Jack.
He's going to bet 300.
We saw Joe fold a open-ended straight draw earlier. I just don't see him calling this. I mean, if he does, I'd be shocked. I mean, if a 9 comes out, is he going to get any action, really?
No, there you go. He's going to fold. And obviously, that's going to get Hob out of the hand as well. I don't necessarily know if I should say this, but
go ahead.
Alex Powers came up to me the other day and asked me for $10. I said, and I'm not even kidding you. I told him no, I don't loan money out. So, I mean, that might give you a little perspective of where we're at here.
Well, I mean, no disrespect against Alex Powers. I mean, we actually had him on the show as well.
Yeah, we have.
If you check out our Live at the Bike archives again, you can go back. I mean, way old school Live at the Bike. He did a couple of shows. Obviously, it was very interesting and very funny.
Right.
Nice guy. But if you watched him in the event, the World Series event, I'm not sure why you would go to his school.
Well, who won?
I'm not sure you'd go, oh, wow, he knows how to play? What? Of course not. I mean,
of course, he doesn't know how to play?
No, I mean, you're not going to go to school. I mean, if anybody watched that on ESPN, that final table, would you really go to his school to learn how to play poker? I don't mean any disrespect, but come on.
Joe is going to raise it up here. He's going to make it 140 to go. 130 to go. Sam here is going to call. He's got Jack 9. And that's going to bring Rob in here as well. We need to see Sam's cards in seat 6. Or George, excuse me. He's got Jack 9 offsuit. He doesn't know how to... There we go. And here we go to the flop, Queen 9-3. Well, George has out-flopped everybody. And it's going to get checked around here. Well, the turn now is a 5. So let's see if George leads out here from up front with the second pair. And he does.
250.
He's going to bet 250. I don't think Joe is going to get involved after he checked the flop.
Great email here from Med Crew. He says, I'd pay you guys $600 an hour just to shut the hell up. I'll take that. I have no problem with that. You can send the check to Bart and... Actually, no, not check. Cashier's check, sorry. To Bart and Dave at the Bicycle Casino. We're at 7301 Eastern Avenue in Bell Gardens.
Well, this is an interesting email here, too. This actually makes sense by Christian De Francisco. He says, you could also always give semi-private lessons where, like, you have a group of 5 people that pay anywhere from $75 to $100. That makes sense, too.
That makes more sense, obviously. I think this gentleman actually wanted to play on the show.
Yeah.
And then have me kind of look at the archives and go over his play with him.
Right.
Email here from Tyler Tipton. He says, hey, Bart and Dave. My name is Tyler. I'm a new watcher. Glad to have you aboard, Tyler. What games and limits do you two normally play? Also, why did this game break so quickly? And first of all, Bart and I both play predominantly no-limit hold'em, but we also play, I know Bart really likes to play Omaha 8 or better.
Yeah. Well, it was linked around here, Dave. Pop has ace 6-9 with a couple of clubs. Now, Paul has got ace-jack, and he's going to bet here. He did not raise it pre-flop. He's going to bet 150. And I don't know if anybody can call. Gut shot here for George in seat 6. He's not going to call.
No, I don't think anybody's calling this.
Yeah, the beautiful thing, I want to bring that up about, you know, in the recent Card Player magazine, the one that just came out, there's a big ad for Omaha High-Low 3060. And with a picture of Day, who's the host of the game. They're really trying to get that game going here. And the beauty of that game, everyone that loves Omaha, is that they're forcing the 30 props to play in the game.
Really?
Yes. And
Are
that
there
is
any
an
30 props
unbelievable. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of new ones. I mean, I got to tell you, I saw a couple of 30 props in that game today, and I'm like, wow. When the 5-10 game is bad in the afternoon, I'm heading over to that game.
No, definitely. I was going to say, now, I know you like to play the Omaha 8 or better. I also like to play stud high-low. I'll play deuce to 7.
Right.
I'll play Padugi. I'll pretty much play any type of poker. Bart and I have figured out that no-limit hold'em is probably where the easiest money is at right
absolutely.
now. And we'll play this 10-20 game here. I'll play this game very often. I'll play the 5-10 game.
And this pot is limped around 6 ways. Ace, 8, king, all hearts.
And now Raid's got top pair.
And Avo flopped the flush. He's got 10-3 of hearts. He coyly checked it from up front. And I don't know if anybody bet. It got checked around, Dave. Well, the turn pairs the board with an 8.
Yeah, and I think I was got to bet this.
Yeah, he's going to bet 100 here.
What are you going to do, let another heart come off and lose to a
Actually,
jack?
he checked, and Mo is going to bet 100. Mo bets with king 7.
Avo might just check call this the whole way. We'll see. Wow.
Raid is going to call with an ace. Well,
And-
now I think you got to throw a little raise in there, don't you?
Definitely.
And there it comes, 400.
Now, Mo can win this pot with a king. Raid can win this pot with an ace. But nobody's going to call this, I don't think. Now, this is the type of play, Avo might make this play even with nothing. I want to thank Tyler Tipton for joining us on the show. You can actually watch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. And if you miss any show, we do a live loop where we replay the show at 11 p.m. that night, and then every 3 hours until 5 p.m. the next day. And then on Sunday, you can watch the entire week starting at noon.
You know, it's interesting. We got an email here from Scott Forney. He said, well, let's take a look at the chip count. I'll get to that in a second here. So, wow, still have 46,000 on the table. Remember, the stakes are lowered to 1020. Avo was 17,000. Let's take a look at the differences here.
Hav and Paul, I mean, two of our better players, both down the most.
Avo up the most. Mo is having a nice night.
Yeah.
And I don't. Raid's not 200. He's not up 200. He's down, right? In seat 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the chip count from the last one. So it's probably Avo up more like, instead of up like 5,000, he's probably up an extra 1,500, and Raid down that.
Limped around here again. 8-5-8 on the flop with a couple diamonds. Well, Mo's got king jack of diamonds, overcards, and a diamond draw. And he checked it.
This is a real, once again, this is a real passive table post flop.
Turns a queen.
Now Lang has picked up a pair of queens.
Lang did not raise it up with ace queen.
And he bets, what, $100? This is the kind of 10-20 game that I like. It's a game that I can really take good control of.
It's a $70 bet, and Mo's going to check raise semi-bluff here. Now, do you buy the fact that Mo would check an 8 twice?
Mo might.
And Lang calls.
Mo might.
Now,
Mo's
if
the only
Mo
play.
misses diamonds, he's going to have to put a big bet out here on the river. And the river's a 7. The pot is about $550, and Mo's going to bet 400 here.
400.
40, huh?
400.
And Lang is going to call him. And Mo folds. I mean, yeah, Mo might, Dave, but I don't. Actually, no, I don't really buy it.
No, me neither. I mean, I'd probably call ace queen as well. I'm just saying.
I don't buy it.
You look at it and you go, well, Mo might. I mean, if any player would. Not usually in a passive table like this, though.
Email here by Scott Forney says, if you have what it takes to teach poker, you should have a curriculum to write a book. You'll likely make more money for your time, and you can avoid personality conflicts with students. We've had a lot of people approach us about, you guys should write a book. That might come. I don't know if the powers that be at Live at the Bike would ever want to do something with us in conjunction. Absolutely not. Oh, absolutely.
I'd want to do it, but we'd have to have naked pictures.
Right.
Unlike every other page.
Let me just throw 40 as a straight.
But I'm hearing that no one would take us seriously.
Wow, pocket queens
Who
for
takes
Raid.
us seriously now, really? Come on.
Pocket queens for Aid and pocket kings for George in seat 6. Excuse me, seat 7, Avo. Avo is on fire.
I gotta tell you, I don't want to be taken seriously. I just want people to know that I'm a good poker player. Don't take me seriously.
Avo is re-raised. And now Raid is short. He's going to move all in, and this is an easy call with these stack sizes for Avo.
Well, you know what? Avo should have had Raid stacked before.
Yeah.
I guess I'll get it now.
Well, Raid has got one chance in 5 here of winning this hand, Dave. Looks like all the queens are live from what I've seen out there.
No queen yet.
Yeah, he needs a queen.
Oh, now he needs a queen of
He's
hearts.
got one out.
Oh!
One out! One outer on the river.
Oh, that's so ugly.
Oh, that's sick.
That's so ugly.
One out.
Oh, that is a one-outer. I sit there going, he needs the queen of hearts and peel. There it goes.
Unbelievable.
Oh. And you know what? Now that misplay with the set of 7s earlier has now cost him whatever Raid has in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a
That's sick. One out.
jumping up and down the hall.
Oh, man.
Man, hey, you gotta be careful.
I mean, obviously all the money is in pre-flop, so it doesn't really make a difference how it comes out. But it's just so much more painful when you see the 8 of clubs on the turn, and you know the guy only has one out to the hand. Oh, it's ugly.
Button moves over here to seat 9.
And it's interesting, the email from Scott Forney is, if you have what it takes to teach poker, and once again, it's not like I've gone out and actually advertised teaching.
Right.
I was approached, so I don't know. Yeah, and here, Michael Feynman says, why pay? Bart, you silly man. And I guess he's saying Bart and Tuck, you silly men. You give out your poker strategy free 5 nights a week.
6 frames.
6-way action here. Ace, king, queen on the flop. And Raid is going to come out and bet here with ace 10. Top pair with a gut shot, and that's probably going to do it here, I would assume.
And he says, you give out your poker strategy free 5 nights a week, but you want $300 an hour for private lessons, and he goes into the whole entire spiel. I guess he's trying to say that that seems like a little high.
Well, I guess what his point is he's saying, if you only make $125 an hour, and I guess it's a valid point, why wouldn't you take $150 an hour for poker lessons risk-free?
Well, that's more of my. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those questions where you kind of got to look at what you make as a poker player and go, okay, you could probably even take 10% less than that because it's risk-free. But you've got to realize how much your poker lessons are worth for somebody else.
Right.
Obviously, private lessons are a lot more valuable than, say, listening to Live at the Bike.
Right.
But I really think some of the most valuable lessons are either playing yourself and then watching yourself play later on, or watching Live at the Bike 5 nights a week, watching the archives, seeing some of the plays we talk about. You know, I mean, you can read all the books in the world, and there are some great books out there. But when you actually see them in real live cash games, that's where they really come alive. Email here from Chad, and he says, I think that Bart's 1.5 to 2 times his hourly rate is a little high. David seems to have a good idea that about $75 to $100 per hour because that's going to be guaranteed cash money, no variance involved. Okay. A few thoughts from Shadney. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Again, you still got about half an hour left to send me any hand questions you have in the subject. Put in hand for blog, and I will read them. I've already picked out 1 or 2 that we'll use tomorrow.
Yeah, if you want us to talk about your hand, analyze your hand that you played, just let us know what it is. Give us all the details.
Lucky you don't call 6-3.
And all I heard from Ray in the back, is that Pamela Anderson, you said?
All in.
Pamela Anderson.
And luck's going to come 3-3.
Oh, I get it now. Analyze the hand. I get it, okay. I got to tell you, Ray, man, you usually come up with, that was weak.
So there's a couple of people on 2+2 talking about,
I mean, you usually like throwing singers in our ear, and that's, yeah, okay.
talking about collection pot and why you might not get involved with like a suited connector or a pocket pair with implied odds because there's a huge vig on the hand, and it's definitely a valid point. $500 pot and you get 20% of it taken out. You might really not want to play in that many hands.
Right, you start thinking of, well, if you only win that hand, say 50% of the time, and then you got to pay that big vig.
Yeah. Now, Avo raised it here with ace-king, and George limped with ace-7, and Avo checks the top pair. And now he's going to bet. He bets 200. And this is going to be explained a little bit, I think, by the video blog again tomorrow. Sometimes why Avo checks big hands on the flop.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying ace-king is a huge hand, but it really plays into the hand that he played against Kirk yesterday.
He also gets, Avo, because of the way he plays these hands, he gets a lot of free cards. Because people know they don't necessarily just fire into him on the turn when he checks it, because they know he could be checking a big hand. Now, George is a pretty solid player. He's a very tight player, pretty solid player in seat number 6. He likes to follow the tournament circuit around.
The hand you went all in on it?
Of course, you can become our friend on MySpace as well. You can go to myspace.com/liveatthebike. Check it out.
And Baron Bangertoth actually talking about EV and talking about what a collection pot can do to your EV, where something is maybe slightly positive EV, and with that big VIG, it turns into negative EV. Those are things that if you're just a recreational poker player, those are the things you really don't need to think about.
Right.
But if you want to play for a living or you want to actually make some money playing, those are things you have to think about.
Right, he just raised it with ace-8 offsuit in the button. George just called with ace-10 of diamonds in the big blind. Well, Raid's flopped an open-ended straight draw here.
Yeah, and that's really a bet. I mean, I think if George checks to you, I think you can easily bet it.
Wow, it goes check, check.
I just don't understand it.
Turns a 6. And now he's going to bet. Now he bets 200. And I was saying, I mean, if you're George, you might even call here. The only problem is that it's so difficult to figure out where you're at.
Yeah, and the problem with calling there is you can't even beat ace-jack or ace-queen.
Right.
Then I had you.
You almost have to raise it. If you think the guy has nothing, you're in a raise or fold situation, I think.
I want to steal the blind. Runner.
Button moves over here to seat 5. Got about a half an hour left of the show.
Wow.
Tomorrow night, I don't know exactly what game we're going to be doing, Dave. I would assume
maybe
some form of no limit hold.
Yeah, maybe 500, maybe 3 to 5, maybe 200, maybe even 80. But Friday's game will be 10-20. It'll be the same game we're playing right now. 10-20 blinds, no limit hold'em.
Mo doesn't really like spicy.
I like spicy.
Paul's going to raise it up here with Jack 6 of hearts. He has really opened up his open raise hands, or his selection with his opening raise hands. And he's attacking Avo again.
Well, he knows Avo's pretty tight. He knows Avo doesn't really care about defending his blind. And he says, hey, you know what? It's a free $30. I'll take it.
You know, it's funny, you were talking about Hobb, about how he doesn't make that many mistakes. I got to tell you that I think Paul might be one of the best players that we see on the show. Paul.
Although you wonder about tonight's play, though. I mean, he's making a lot of raises pre-flop.
I understand that, but I mean, this is just, he might just be picking tonight one day a year to really mix it up.
You wonder, actually, if he's advertising.
Right, that's what I mean.
I know some players will come on Live at the Bike knowing that other players watch it, and he advertises this kind of play. Now, right now, I apologize, Paul, if I'm giving up your scheme.
Right.
But I know some players do that. You know, if he can advertise here for 3 hours and then go play in a big game and people think he's raising with garbage half the time, well, it might be worth a lot to him.
Hobb is going to raise it up here with ace-9 of diamonds.
Doesn't want to go, huh?
Lang is going to call with queen-jack here.
He's sticking the same spot.
Excuse me, Rob calls with pocket sixes. Lang is not going to call.
I just heard that Ronnie said that apparently Paul has been enrolled himself in the Alex Powers School of Poker.
Oh, I see. Joe is going to come in with Jack 10 suited here. So here we go, three-way action. Remember, Hobb is the pre-flop raiser with ace-9. Now, Joe's got the best hand. I think he probably put some money in here right into Hobb.
Yeah, you want to find out where you're at.
Flop top pair.
It's not a hand that I want to be check raising with. I mean, if Hobb puts a bet in here.
Well, I mean, now he's checked it. Well, Hobb is just going to check right behind him. Well, the turn now is a jack. Well, now Joe's made 2 pair.
Yeah. And Hobb's got a gut shot straight draw. But you imagine when Joe puts money in the pot, it's going to be over. And it's going to be over. Now, the problem with by checking that Jack 10 there is, if Hobb puts a continuation bet at 250, well, then what do you do? What, are you just going to check and call? I mean, I guess you could check call and then maybe fire on the turn. I don't really want to check raise there, though. I don't think my hand is strong enough to check raise.
Email here from Ben Turpin. He said, just heard about the show. I was wondering if any big names have ever come into the games that are local, such as JC Tran or Tim Fan. Well, Joe, if you click on the archives banner in the upper left-hand corner of your screen at liveatthebike.com, we have had many, many, many pros on this show in big games. You can check out the notes section in the catalog.
We've had pretty much,
up.
I mean, everybody that's anybody. Doyle Brunson, Ted Forrest, Kathy Liebert, Kenneth James, Barry Greenstein. I mean, this name, Men Master, Mark Safe, Ron Rose, Antonio Esfandiari, Linda Johnson, man, Vince Bergio. The list goes on and on.
Three-way action here. Limped around. Queen
Greg
A4.
Raymer.
I mean, I would go so far as to say...
Olga Varconi.
Yeah.
You look like you're going to beg. Go ahead. Nice.
Did she play on the show, though?
No, but she just kept feeding her. She kept feeding her husband $100 bills.
Yeah. Checked around on the flop. Turn is a queen.
It's the only night we've ever actually, Donna, who's our assistant on the floor, she provides the chip counts for us. And it's the only night where she actually lied about how much money somebody was losing because she felt bad for Robert Varconi.
And then we scolded her for that.
Well, we said,
afterwards.
please, no, be honest. But it was the only time. She felt so bad for him because he was down so much money that she just kept lying. And we're sitting there looking at it going, wait, he has to be down more than that. We've seen him lose it.
Well, you know, on Wednesdays we used to do 5,100 no limit, and then we used to do a big limit game. Tim Fan's been on the show at least 10 times.
Yeah, Tim Fan is a regular on the show.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest highlight hands of all time was Tim Fan involved with a hand with Tim Fan, Yoshi Nakano,
And Jerry Buss,
and
Dr.
Jerry Buss.
the
And
owner of the Lakers.
I want to say that hand is like someplace in August.
Yeah, I think it's late August. We did it on a replay one time.
Yeah.
Great.
Tim Fan has also had a straight flush once. Played on the same game numerous times.
Now, I was going to bring it in for a raise here. He's going to attack Paul with Jack-8 of diamonds. And Paul is going to call with 6-5 offsuit. Here we go to the flop, King 7 deuce. And you wonder if Paul might play here with Avo. Maybe he's not playing the strength of his hand here. And it goes check, check on the flop. Well, the turn's a king. Avo's picked up a diamond draw now. And Paul's going to bet out. He's going to bet 200.
Now, you wouldn't necessarily put Paul on a king, but Paul might check his king to you. Although he knows that you're probably not going to bet.
And I always find this interesting because if Avo calls here and it comes blank, somebody's got to bluff. Even if Paul shuts down, Avo just folds.
Yeah, he has no problem with it. Just throws it away.
Even if an offsuit blank comes and Paul checks, Avo thinks he needs to bet.
Yeah. Well, the river would have been a jack of hearts.
Well, if it got checked to Avo, he might have checked behind with the jack coming.
Right.
But like I said, either Paul takes the initiative to fire again as a bluff, or if he checks it, Avo's going to bet because he probably doesn't think jack high is good.
I want to welcome Ben, though. Thanks for joining us on Live the Bike.
Yeah. But moves over here to seat 9.
Email here from Ben Powell. That is not going to happen,
That's
Ben.
not me, baby.
Not even going to address it.
I won't be showing you two.
You want to read it?
No.
No.
I won't be showing you 2 8s for 2,000. I'll show you deuce 7 for 2,000.
Joe's going to limp in here.
There are some places we don't go. That's one of them.
And Rob is going to raise it up. He's played it pretty tight so far with deuce 4 off suit. Are you going to call a button raise here with king queen from up front? And Joe does not. And Avi here said, hey guys, it was a 2-outer. Apparently that board was paired, Dave. It was paired. There was
No,
2
but he
4s.
said there's 2 4s on the board. What's that going to change? So if a third 4 comes out there, what's that going to do?
No, but if the queen of club comes out, the guy wins with the full house. Avo doesn't win.
Oh,
with
it
the
was a
flush.
paired board. Okay, I didn't realize.
It's kind of
that.
similar to that hand with the WPT
You are right, okay.
last week with
Thank you, Avi. I appreciate it.
yeah.
That's Avi at Live at the Kikes in New York.
Worry about Cody, this guy. Over there. Should be
Signed at live at the Heights. from
Yeah,
there. George is going to raise it here to
I
120.
didn't make that up.
Pocket 9.
you could took it.
I'm not that smart or witty.
Okay, and now the flood of emails keep
Eric
coming
Hunter
in.
saying
two,
raise
two
queen
outer.
queen was actually a 2-outer. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think they're finally catching on to the fact that we don't really pay attention.
Right. We never pay attention. Right. Yeah. Rob is going to smooth call here with 8, 9 of hearts.
Once again, this show is live, unedited, unscripted. Set of 9s here for George.
Case 9 on the flop.
Yeah.
Because Rob's got 8, 9.
Yeah, but Rob's really not going to get involved. I mean, he's going to put a little
Well, look
money
at this
in.
though. George checks. Rob is going to bet 300 here.
Well, I don't mind the bet, obviously, but how
Right.
much money is he going to lose with 8, 9 of hearts here? I mean, is this really a board you can just slow play if you're George? A lot of draws out there,
He's gonna
right?
check call.
Queen 10, 10 8, spades. A lot of action killers.
Turns a 3.
No, that's not one of them.
He checks again. And wow. Rob is going to continue to bet.
I don't mind the bet. I mean, there might be a chance George is on one of those draws, right? I might actually.
George
I probably,
is all in. An 8, 9 just quickly.
Yeah, he quickly
Yeah.
folds.
Yeah.
I actually probably would bet the 8, 9 on the turn as well,
Yeah.
and then take the free showdown. There's just too many draws out there. I mean, couldn't George have
The river is there.
Queen 10?
But again, though, if I raise with pocket 9s and the board comes out with Jack 9, 5, I like the bet because, again, I want to, that might be a board that I've raised with Ace King or Ace Queen and it hasn't hit me. And a guy might, what we call now this term, quote unquote, float a call on the flop with nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? Butt moves over here to Paul in seat 2.
Nice email here from Drew. Says, love the show. Not only do I gain insight into the gameplay of actual professional cash game players, but the show is often great comedy relief. As it was last week between Barry and Corporation Mike. Yeah, that was hysterical. If you missed that show, it was
Unbelievable.
last Wednesday? Yeah,
Yeah.
last Wednesday, Barry and Corporation Mike. That was really hysterical. I am a beginner with little experience, but I do study a lot about the game. My question is regarding very low limit buy-in games with dollar blinds.
huge. Huge card.
We'll get to that in a second. Limped around here. King, King, Deuce. Looks like pocket 8s is the best hand here for Rob. See if he throws some money in 2 off the button.
They have those in
No, he's not going to throw money in.
Cannot bluff.
And it's going to get checked around here. Well, the turn's a 10. 8s are still the best hand here, Dave. Is someone going to take a shot at it? Nope.
Like I
Gets
said, I
checked
mean, this
around
is
again.
a real passive table. Nobody really wants to put money in the
And
pot.
now Raid and Avo have both backed into the same hand, aces and kings with a 10 kicker.
Yep.
And this one might just get checked down again.
Once again, your best 5 cards and hold them.
Well, Raid's going to bet 20 here.
Look at all this red. Look at
$20? Are you kidding?
There he goes.
And look at this. Avo is going to raise. He's going to probably try to raise him off maybe a chopped hand unless, he just thinks Raid is making a move. He wouldn't check king twice there. Makes it 190.
I think he had the king.
There it is.
And he throws it away. Hey, you know what? I think Avo might even thought he had the same exact hand, but he goes, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he raises him
I'll do
off a
it.
chop.
Now, his question is here. He said he's playing in a small buy-in, no-limit game. And he was telling his friend that it's basically a pre-flop game where you should go all in with any hand that you feel is the best pre-flop because you're so short-stacked.
Well, yeah, the game is similar to the $40 buying game here where I think the blinds are 1 and 2.
Right, well, this game, the blinds are 1.
1 with a $40 buy-in.
Or 20 even.
Right.
And obviously that game is very much so pre-flop.
Absolutely. It plays like a limit game.
Right, plays much more like a small limit game until you start building up your stack a little bit.
Right.
Is that bottom rack all quarters?
Obviously, there's not much post-flop play there.
The top right cover.
Another thing, obviously, you're not going to be calling any raises with kind of speculative hands because you're not going to be getting the correct implied odds unless, say, 6 or 7 people are in the pot.
Now, Rob is going to raise it up here out of seat 9. He's got ace-jack of spades. And Raid is going to call. He's dominated here with queen-jack. And Hob is in there with pocket eights.
I fold people. Automatic.
So this pot is going to be about a $370 pot going 3 ways. Rob, the pre-flop raiser. Well, 10 deuce 10. Now, let's see if Hob is going to lead out here from the blind game with ace. And I think that is the correct play.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And he's going to bet.
I mean, you almost view that. That's actually a really good flop of pocket eights. The odds of somebody having a 10 are that much less because there's 2 of them out there. Obviously, you're not scared of a deuce. So you'd almost have to be behind pre-flop to be behind anyway. And he's going to bet, what is he betting, 160.
I'm ahead of you. I can tell you that much right now.
And Hob is saying, I'm ahead of you.
What is Raid thinking about here? He's got queen high. He's going to throw it away. We got another email here from another person saying the queen versus king hand was misannounced. Once again, this show is live. It's unedited, unscripted. The shows you see on TV are all done in post-production. They have lots of time for editing. We do it on the fly. And once in a while, we do make a mistake.
I've actually heard mistakes made in on the World Series of Poker and the ESPN broadcast where they do post-edit.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I gotta see it. He's bluffing me. I'm coming back.
I think I had the best hands, but
Big blind.
I still believe.
I will see it 11 o'clock.
Button's going to move over here to seat 4.
You always play at the same time?
Loops.
10 minutes left here for your questions. Hand blog. Hand for blog.
Once
Subject
again,
line.
Josh sends an email in. Read the board again. You know, it's nice to know that our viewers,
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate the emails. We like to keep the show as interactive as possible. It's nice to know that everybody else is paying attention. Josh has also pointed out the fact that it was a 2-outer, not a 1-outer.
Range, make it 70 total.
Yeah, once again, Keith Fire said, you guys once again have misread the board.
Blinds come. My blind.
2 rounds.
My button.
And you raised my button last time.
You know what? Truth be told, we knew it was a 2-outer. It just sounded more dramatic when the Queen of Hearts hit, okay? Man.
Hopefully I'll get to show you.
Exactly, I'm Hollywooding it up.
Hob is in there with ace queen, and Paul has got ace 10.
Well, there's the ace. Now, oh, wow, well, Paul has hit 2 pair.
Wow, top
Now,
2 pair.
We talk about a good player getting away from an ace. I don't even think Hob is going to lose much money on this pot.
Well,
Let's see how much.
Paul here. Now, who was the raiser pre-flop?
Paul was the raiser.
And
Hob
Hob
called
smooth
him.
called.
And then Hob check raised him
Hob
here.
has check raised him, and Paul's got top 2.
And I think he's just going to call this. He's not going to let he's not going to let Hob off the hook because he knows Hob is going to bet into him with what, ace king or ace queen.
Turns at 3. That's a nice blank card.
Oh, it really is a beautiful safeguard. Now Paul also has the ace of hearts in his hand, which means he knows Hob is not betting with the ace high flush draw. He knows Hobbs probably got ace king or ace queen here.
Hobb bets 300 here, 300 into about a, it's a little half-size pot bet, but a $300 bet into about a $600 pot.
Now, Hobb doesn't want to play this big. I know he doesn't.
And Paul's going to raise him.
And I imagine Hobb is probably going to lay this down. Let's see.
Now remember, Hobb does not have ace king here either. And that is one other
The only
hand that beats
hand
him.
Hobb can beat is ace jack. The only hand he can beat is ace jack. And is Paul really making this kind of move?
And look at this, Hobb comes over the top all in. Wow.
And you know what? I mean, Hobb has got to look at, Paul's looking at this going, wait a second. What has he got here?
Could he have a set
Hobb-
of sixes, right?
Well, that's when you start putting him on because you go, Hobbs not going to make this move with ace queen or ace king, is he?
Remember, Hobb check raised Paul. He bet the turn. Paul raised him, and now Hobb has moved all in. And this pot right now, I mean, depending if Paul's got him covered, it's about maybe $4,000 or $5,000, and Paul's got $2,000 in front of him. He's probably getting it about 2 to 1, but it's about a $4,000 or $5,000 pot, $2,000 to call.
Well, I'm gonna say one thing here. Now, since Paul has the ace of hearts in his hand, he knows Hobb is not making this move with an ace high flush draw. Let's say ace 5 of hearts, ace jack of hearts, ace queen of hearts, any of those hands. He knows that. So at this point, you've got to put Hobb on a made hand. Since you have top 2 pair, normally you wouldn't think Hobb would make this move with a hand as weak as ace queen. You almost have to put him on a set, wouldn't you? I mean, it's really a tough call. I know people at home are saying, and he's gonna.
Yeah,
it's
he's
almost
gonna
a
make the
crying call.
He makes the call here.
And Hobb needs a queen and only a queen on the river.
And
He said
Paul
we
says
might
he might be chopping. He's
Well,
really surprised here that Hobb only has ace queen here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, Hobb rarely makes mistakes, and one of the reasons why Paul, it's kind of a crying call. I think Paul figured the worst hand that he could have is the same hand I have.
And they're talking about running it more than once. This is going to be about a $5,000 pot.
But Hobbs in terrible shape.
Actually, more than that, about a $6,000.
Paul's
pot.
got him covered.
And the king comes here on one time.
What a scary card that would have been for
Yeah.
Paul.
A 10 here. Paul wins the second one. Hobb needs a queen and a queen only.
Yep.
And the
Not gonna
river's a
happen.
9.
And all two out of those 3 cards would have been scary cards because of the hearts.
Let me ask you this question, too. Does Hobb think that he might get Paul off of ace-king by making that move? Does Paul fold ace-king there on the turn? I mean, I think
so.
he does.
I
If he
think
was so
guaranteed.
reluctant to call with ace-10 there.
He didn't think ace 10 was good. He thought
Yeah.
it's really a crying call because it's a Hobb. And anybody that watches the show, and Paul's very familiar with Hobbs' game, you don't think Hobb is making that move with just one pair.
Right.
I mean, that's a really strong move. You're talking about a check raise on the flop, right? And now a check raise all in on the turn. Actually, no, I'm sorry, a bet, a raise, and then a re-raise all in with just ace queen. I mean, Hobb definitely overplayed that hand.
I mean, that's one sometimes you got to go out wonder and you ask, Hobb, do you think you have the best hand? I think when he gets called, I mean, you got to figure he doesn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really strange play. Now, Paul is definitely playing more hands than usual.
Right.
That was a really interesting hand. I mean, you think about the action that went on the turn there.
Yeah.
After all the action on the flop, I mean, it went bet, raise, and then re-raise all in. It's tough to think just 2 pairs good against Hobb there. New player in seat 6.
Got a raise here by seat 4, Raid with queen 10 off suit. And Hobb is going to rebuy for 3,000 behind. George's call with ace jack, and seat number 9 is in there with queen jack. Spot is going to be about $400 here. Queen 10 off suit in the seat 4, the pre-flop raiser and the cutoff. Well, king 7-4. Nobody has a king. If queen 10 follows through with the bet here, he will take it down. If Raid can continuation bet,
Betting 220.
he's going to bet 220, and that's probably going to get it done here. Everybody else is missed. And that is going to get it done.
Now, it's funny, I talk about Hobbs' game, and anybody that watches the show knows I have a lot of respect for him and his game. I really do think his game is good, but I think he made a mistake there. Obviously, I really thought, I said, well, these are 2 good players. And ace flops, and I even said, I go, watch how easily Hobbs gets away from his ace.
I mean, I want to go out there and ask Hobb, did he think he was trying to get Paul off of ace-king? Or did he just think that Paul was having a night where he's just been bluffing?
Yeah,
So
well-
he just figured he had the best hand.
Well, you know what? If Paul has ace-king, he's laying it down.
Well, and the funny thing, too, is that, Paul normally doesn't play the way he's opened his game up tonight. In short-term metagame, Hav might think, well, Paul is really mixing it up tonight. I'm going to push him because I think I have the best hand with the way he's playing tonight.
Yeah.
But look, he's got the best hand now. Paul has it, kind of like when Corporation Mike gets hit
Yeah,
down.
you wonder, though. You wonder. I think your first inclination is probably the correct one. I think he probably thought Paul had ace-king, trying to get him off ace-king. And I don't think Paul can call with ace-king. I really don't.
No, I don't either. Five-way action here. As you looked at how reluctantly
Yeah.
Paul called with ace-10.
I mean, there's always a fine line between looking like a genius and looking like an idiot in poker. Really is that fine line that you go by.
Ace 5-3 here on the flop. It was limped around. A couple hearts out there. Flop's missed everybody here.
Queen on the turn, still no help. It's funny. If Hav actually, let's say Paul had ace-king there, and Hav gets him off ace-king, we're sitting here going, wow, what a play by Hav.
Right. Now, Lang is going to come out. I mean, this is the second hand he's got involved with, and he's just going to make a pure bluff, and he's going to take it down. Email here from Jared, another email here from Jared Pondalik. He says, can you explain the reason why the bike does a collection pod, say, as opposed to, just like a flat hourly rate?
Thank you. I think a lot of the bigger players like the collection pod. I don't know exactly why, though. Do you?
I don't exactly, I don't necessarily know the reason. Maybe some
Yeah, I
can
know
find out.
I know in Vegas, the Bellagio, in the bigger games, they do a collection pod as well. But I know some casinos just do an hourly rate. Or a half-hour rate.
Pocket aces here for Lang. He's in the big blind, in seat 1.
Now, Avo's our big winner tonight, but he is gone.
And he checked it in the big blind. Lang has checked aces in the big blind, Dave.
No.
Wow. King,
Are you kidding
He
me?
checked it in the big blind. King 8-9 here with a couple diamonds. Well, he's going to come out and lead.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't know if we've ever seen anybody do that in a multi-way pot like this.
How do you get 5 limpers at $20 a pop, and then you just check in the big blind with pocket aces? Well, I got to tell you, you'd never put them on him.
Well, Sam is going to call. Again, you look at it, that's not the type of flop you're looking for when a solid player seems like Lang's been playing tight. You're going to call with King 3 there on the flop.
Well, is it solid or tight? There's a big difference between solid and tight.
I'm
Paul
dumbfounded.
Paul is solid.
Yeah.
Lang is tight.
And is George just going to overcall here with the gut shot with 2 diamonds on board?
I got to tell you, I am absolutely baffled.
And Lang again is vulnerable. He's going to need to dodge some cards. Well, the turn is a 6. He's still good here.
Yeah. And he is trying to keep this pot small, isn't he? I mean, what is he going to do here?
Wait a minute. Look how many. He's going to bet 300 now. He's going to bet 380. And he is living dangerously. If the turn was a 3 of spades as opposed to a 6, that's even, less coordinated. 6 might bring some straights out there. But say the turn's a 3. Is he going to go broke?
Yeah, you wonder. Now, he's obviously dodged this. Now, the only thing I'll say is now Lang is actually going to win himself a decent-sized pot by slow playing it looks like. But one mistake
Sam
begets
calls again, though.
one mistake begets another mistake. Lang might play it again this way and go broke, say 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, whenever it is.
And it's a $1,000 pot here. Here we go to the river. And the river is a king. The river is a king, and Sam gets there. And I got to tell you, if the guy checks to me and I call all the way with the king, I'm going to overbet this and make it look like I was on diamonds. Unless you think that Lang was leading out with the king and you're out kicked, of course.
Well, I'll put it this way, if Lang bets into you, all you can do is call with king 3.
Right.
Your 3 doesn't even play.
And he goes check. What? Sam didn't bet the river. And Lang turns over the aces. That is astounding.
Yeah, it really is.
I have a call and I asked 10-7 a diamond.
And what is he? Does he have a
Channeling
microphone?
something in there?
I'm only wondering if he can hear us. What does he have in his hand? Has he inserted a chip in his eyebrow?
The turn straight.
We'll have to keep an eye on that.
That's funny, though, because we actually, people can't hear the floor people out there, but one of the first things that we did when he came to the show, came on the show a couple minutes ago, and he had his hand up. We were actually looking to make sure he didn't have something like that in his hand.
Now, obviously, we're on about a 10-minute delay here anyway. So even if his buddies were listening to the show, they're only going to find about this hand about 10 minutes from now.
Well, Hav is going to raise it up here to 50.
Why is it there? $200 spot right there.
And the flop is going to come out ace 10 deuce here. And Lang is going to bet 50. And look at Hav. He's going to call with pocket eights. He calls it immediately with pocket eights.
King, queen, king, queen, king, queen. Well,
And it was Raid that bet with king, queen, and everybody called.
well, Hav's in great shape. He really is.
Everybody called with the gut shot. The turns of 7. Javi's still good here. And this is going to be the last hand of the night. And it gets checked around. Hav does not bet. He figures he's beaten. The river's a 4. Someone going to stab at it here? Well, now Raid's going to bet 300.
And that might get it done. I don't know if Hav can call with 2 players yet behind
Yeah,
him.
he's going to get rid of it.
Yeah, tough place to be. Wow, what a night of Live at the Bike there.
Yeah.
Great night of poker.
And that is going to do it for us tonight.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. And again, we'll probably be filming a video blog tomorrow. We'll be back here again tomorrow night for some sort of no limit, 305, maybe a 200, maybe a 500. We'll see. It was a fun night for Dave Tuckman. I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.